Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast. 2 years in. Yes, this is episode 99. Surprisingly enough, next week is our episode 100. So, kind of funny how close the 2 year anniversary and the episode 100 match together. But, that's what you get when you try to hit weekly almost every single week, only missing like stuff for like holiday breaks and whatnot. I'm your host, the Uncharted Wolf, and I'm only joined by one person today, but I think it's a very special person. It's Fusion. How are you doing, Fusion?
I'm doing great, happy 2 years. At least we got two OGs here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Two OGs right
exactly.
now for the 2 years where it's a little funny. We'll do a little duo cast, but sometimes the duo cast is the best cast.
Oh, I love duo casts. I got the other ones, what they're busy with stuff like work. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, come
I
on.
put my time in already. Come on now.
I mean, you got a 4 day weekend coming up soon. Next week for Memorial
No,
Day.
I'm on it right now, yeah.
Oh, this week. Okay, cool. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is
that's
day one of the four, so.
gotcha, dude. I love those 4 day weekends, especially when back in school, when you would get a 4 day weekend, it's like, damn, I'm gonna do so much, and then you proceed to just play like COD all weekend.
Yep. You don't want to go outside.
Yeah, exactly. 2 years Fusion, man, crazy. I remember we started this as almost like a little experiment, fun thing. I joined in to the idea like a bit later, and then Bench, and it started with you, me, Bench, Dark, Moon, and 2 years later, we amassed a good group of people with Jack, Bob, Colin, lots of people within the Slice of Gaming Discord, and just people that we talk to regularly. Lots of not a lot of spoiler cast, but we try to get as many as possible. It was a lot of fun. I want to know what your thoughts are just to 2 years of this stuff.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to go from like you said, when we first threw this idea together, we weren't like too serious about it. And then
Mhm.
the closer we got to the idea, the more we're like, okay, we're actually kind of serious about it. Let's just do this. And it's kind of cool to see how much the show has evolved. To think about those original shows, like for those first few months, it was like every show was 4 hours. Like it was
Oh
just
my
like
god, yeah.
we talked so much, and I feel like we did a really good job at like mainlining the content.
Yeah,
And I think
slimming
we
down
still
the
have
feed.
a lot of stuff coming up that like we want to do more spoiler cast. We want to do more things than just podcasts, more like game stuff, more Jeopardy. So I think like the future is even brighter. Like we've learned so much from these 2 years that like we honestly like from 2 years ago, I did. Truth be told, who knows it? I didn't think we would be around in 2 years. I thought it was just gonna be
Yep.
like a one-off thing where we might do this podcast. It might hit, it might not, but then it's just like we kept coming back week after week, and we have had a lot of help in the last year. Where a lot of the originals, myself included, have had this taken steps back in certain days and like certain months where like we've just had a lot of real life stuff going on. So it's
Mhm.
been helpful that Jack and Bop and like you said, Beef have been able to come in and help fill some shoes. That's been like super helpful.
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, I think we got an amazing group of people. Lots of funny people, lots of haters. Okay, I think we
A
got a
lot of
little too
haters.
many haters, but in general, I think we got an awesome group of people that at the end of the day, we don't do this for like profit gain because trust me, we don't make that much money off this yet. But I think we're slowly growing, and I feel like we're getting more and more stuff. I mean, it was a big deal when we got that. What was it? The Trails code and Avowed code, and it was like kind
Yeah.
of this moment of like, oh damn, we're starting to get game codes, and it feels like it's like we're growing slowly, but we're growing at the end of the day, and especially with Moon and his side of stuff going on with 100 girlfriends, like manga reviews and whatnot. And that's growing exceptionally. At the end of the day, it's like a rising tide raises all boats. It's like his stuff gets like 1,000 views, then our stuff grows up to like 200, 300 views, and that doesn't even include stuff like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other podcast platforms. And at the end of the day, it's like obviously we'd want to be like as big as all the other big dogs podcasters out there, but also it's like we do this as a side thing. It's like a
Yeah.
fun little side thing. And the fact that it's as big as it is and we've kind of amassed like a loyal group of listeners, it's pretty awesome.
It is awesome. And to think of all those other podcasters, they started where we are right now. They had to go through
Yeah.
the same stuff and like get to where they are now. It wasn't gonna happen overnight, so like it's cool to see it steadily grow.
Jeff Grubb and Mike Minotti, they games beat decides before it became game mess decides. They started that in 2016 and they had like zero viewership. And they did that for like 4 or 5 years until they really started popping off. And now Jeff Grubb works at Giant Bomb. And it's like that's a pretty big deal. And it's like that's the kind of trajectory I'm hoping that this takes us. But at the end of the day, even if like it always remains a side thing. It's like, hey, I like having an excuse to talk about video games with my friends every week.
Yeah, it's a good outlet to like hang out with other nerdy people when especially a lot of us I feel like our core in real life friend group isn't as into gaming as we are. So it's a good
Yeah.
outlet for us to sit here every week, every day in the Discord and be like, hey, let's just talk about video games.
I don't think my my friends know what the hell a Circana is. So that's the type of thing that's like really exciting for. But enough with the sappy shit. We still got a lot of news to get over, Fusion. I mean, it was actually a pretty decently sized week. A lot of rumors, a lot of like kind of like small confirmations. I had to cut a lot of stuff actually because it was so big. But you know, like I said, it's like pretty interesting headlines all around. I'm interested to get your thoughts on a lot of this. But if you guys want to find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, every single podcast platform, really, we're going to be there. Us on YouTube. That helps us out a lot. And also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That also really helps us like kind of share the wealth and get to more people's eyes. And also we're on Twitter and Blue Sky at A Slice of Gaming. So drop us a follow there. But I think we just get right into the news. I mean, first and foremost, you were a little worried about talking about this one, Fusion. So we got to talk about Bungie. We got to talk about Marathon. Lots of stuff happening over the weekend. Kind of almost an update from what we talked a lot about last week. Paul Tassi wrote up an article over the weekend. New Marathon info, Bungie morale, launch worries, and changing plans. Highly recommend reading the whole article. I'm going to try to get through the main points here. Where is this? Okay, Chaos has engulfed Bungie after an artist, Anti-Real, came forward to accuse Bungie of ripping off her 2017 work as its upcoming extraction shooter Marathon was starting to take shape as early as 2018. Bungie admitted to the plagiarism, supposedly the work of one ex-artist, and promised to make things right, but the story gained traction among gaming outlets and reaction streamers alike, and it's poisoned the previous positive conversation about the aesthetic of the game. I've spoken to some current and former employees about Bungie's excuse for the art theft, studio morale, and the possibility of a delay, and some very real changes when it comes to the upcoming presentation and playtesting of the game. And then there's bullet points here, which God bless Paul Tassi for using bullet points. I want more articles to do this. The public explanation for the art theft, one ex-employee taking things in 2020, is the same one given internally as Bungie among the rank and file. Sony and Bungie Legal are now sorting through this, and there is unlikely to be any much new information as all of this continues to unfold. It is not clear how long an audit will take of the assets to remove or find any plagiarism, as it's an expansive enough process to have Bungie not even show footage at all in its recent livestream. Morale is in free fall across all departments, and the vibes have never been worse. Everyone has the same concerns about what happened to Bungie as a studio if Marathon bombs, which is something they absolutely cannot afford. There are not even hints or jokes about a delay from the September release date internally. With that said, it is entirely possible, if not likely, those conversations are happening privately between higher up Sony and Bungie leadership. It's unclear what the plan is to launch the game in a now actively hostile environment just a few months from now, or how that turnaround. And also, at the start of this month, Bungie pulled the plug on its main Marathon marketing plan, which was going to have a new trailer in June, along with the launch of pre-orders. The whole campaign needs to be reworked now. Now, Fusion, you've expressed before how excited you are for Marathon. You're a big Bungie guy, and especially you're a big fan of like the aesthetic and that initial live stream we were talking a lot about. You were very, very excited. You were sold. You're in. I feel like a lot of this has not helped your excitement. I'm very, very curious to hear kind of your opinion on the plagiarism accusations. At this point, pretty much proven fact that they plagiarized, and just in general, like kind of the vibes around Marathon.
Yeah, this might surprise you, but my excitement hasn't went down at all.
Oh my god, you're a
at,
corporate shill.
at the end of the day, Bungie, they stole art. And at the end of the day, they either have to get rid of that art or they have to pay for the art they're using.
Mm-hmm.
Past that, I'm going to be honest, and it's going to sound really bad, I don't care. Just get it figured out. You know what I mean? Like, as shitty as the situation is, I'm not worried about a delay. I'm not worried about... I've had people text me that aren't in the game that be like, Marathon's going to get canceled. Marathon's not going to get canceled over this. Yeah, it's a shitty situation. Bungie's been in this situation before, which is even worse. Like, get it together. Like, this whole former employee thing's just ruining everything, apparently. But it's like, at the end of the day, this art thing is not that big of a deal to me as a player who is going to play the game, as long as it's gets figured out from their side. As long as the artist is either getting money or they're taking the art out. If we go in a situation where the artist isn't getting money or they're using the art still, then yeah, there's a situation here where it's like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, but that's not a situation we'll be in because that's legally not allowed. So from a legal standpoint, I don't really care. Just get it figured out, Bungie. From a studio morale down in the dumps, that sucks to hear because it felt like you said a few weeks ago when we were doing the reveal event, everyone looked super excited. And I remember Paul talking about, I'm pretty sure it was a Paul article, that like the team at the time was really excited. Like they were super excited about this game coming out, and like I'm sure there's still some excitement there. They're releasing a whole new game, but it's like it does feel like since that launch, a lot of stuff has went down where it's like just like even some of it out of their hands, where it's just like it just seems like a lot of stuff is getting dogpiled on, especially when that game first, right after that event, when no one even knew the price. To this day, we still don't know the price technically. We're all just assuming $40, but for a few days there, people thought this was going to be a $70 project, and they got a lot of backlash for that. So it's like it's insane that they had such, I thought, a good reveal. I thought a lot of people were in. I thought it was a smart idea of getting streamers there and playing it, and word of mouth was pretty positive. But since that moment, it has kind of went more negative. As someone like myself, I've always been excited for this project, I'm still in. I'm still like there day one whenever it launches. I want to be excited for it. It does find it harder to find that community to be excited with, but from my personal standpoint, I want to jump in the marathon when it launches.
There was that closed alpha that recently happened, and I feel like the sentiment around that was some people. I know Chris Raygun from Less Than Media was really into it, but he's like also like a huge Bungie mark. And then I see a lot of people who just weren't really into it. I guess, and there was also that Arc Raiders beta that happened around the same time, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is so much better than Marathon." I guess it's less like the more interesting conversation to me is like how this game will do, especially in terms of like kind of the scope of Bungie, and especially the scope of PlayStation's live service initiative. I actually wanted to pull this up from Gaming Leaks and Rumors, kind of brought up this from Paul Tassi, who put in a video, quote, "I heard Marathon needs to be in the top 5 of the NPD sales of the year to be considered a success." Now we know that's fucking insane, especially with the year where a Mario Kart is coming out, sports games, Call of Duty, lots of big releases. Oblivion, I mean, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it is a pretty insane thing to kind of have this thing of, no, we have to be in the top 5 best-selling games of the entire year for it to be considered a success. Now, of course, that's hearsay. That's what Paul Tassi has heard, but as we saw in the article, he has very deep connections within Bungie. But I do want to really discuss, like, what is, like, kind of the success path for this game to avoid it becoming, dare I say the C word, a Concord. But like anything of that scale, you can't release this game, it comes out and nobody plays it. Like this is just too important of a game, and I wonder what is like that path, especially with kind of the sentiment around it from the fan base.
Yeah, it's interesting because from an even super fan of Bungie, like I love Bungie, they're one of my favorite studios. I would never ever put money that this would be a top 5 seller at the end of the year. Like that to me seems insane. And it could be a situation where like, so Bungie knows if Sony Sony knows if Bungie messes up, Sony can take full control.
Yeah.
So it could be a situation where Sony's like, okay, we're gonna put the highest of expectations on this thing, and if you can't reach those, we're just taking over. You know what I mean? Because it feels like ever since Bungie was acquired, it feels like every month as it goes by, it's closer and closer to just being a fully owned Sony product. Like Bungie as a whole, leadership gone, and it sounds like for months we've seen, especially from Paul Tassi articles, that like a lot of developers in Bungie want Sony to take over. Like they're even done with the leadership at Bungie. It seems like at this moment the worst thing about Bungie right now is the leadership and their road map of like where to go from here, like how to create a successful business. Now, how would that look under Sony, who also was pushing live service for the last 4 years? Who knows? But I mean, Jim Ryan's out of there, so like we have new heads over at Sony as well. So like you would think it would go more smoothly, but it is quite strange how much expectation Bungie leadership, or maybe not even Bungie, this could be Sony saying, hey, this has to be top 5. Like how much expectation they have for Marathon, where it's just like, yeah, Destiny is a huge thing and you're going to have some crossover. but it's still an extraction shooter. There's still a lot of things in the way where it's just like top 5 seems insane to me. Like, is this a Helldivers situation where PlayStation saw how well Helldivers did and how well like having that on PC did, and they're like, okay, we want that again? But they also did the same thing with Concord. Granted, I think I would bet my entire life savings that Marathon has more players in the first minute of Marathon launching than Concord ever did. Like,
I mean, that's a pretty low bar to clear.
yeah, it was at like 2,000 concurrent on Steam. Like it was just not a lot of players. So like I think Marathon is safe from a truly Concord situation, but
No.
I do not think Marathon is safe from a we're shutting this game down in 6 months situation, which is
Yeah.
scary to say out loud because again,
For a
I want to
Bungie
support
game.
it so much. Yeah, I want to support so much, and like Bungie, as much shit as we give Bungie, they've never been like a miss studio. They've never put out something that's completely missed or completely whiffed, and they've never been in like a situation like this where it feels like any mishap that happens, especially marathon related, that comes up, it's like it sounds like PlayStation will just fully acquire everything over there. They'll wipe out the leadership and they'll put new leadership in. Which at the end of the day, maybe that's what Bungie needs. You know what I mean? Maybe it
That's
is
my
like
thing. I
the
support that.
positive line on it. Yeah, and I kind of support that as well. Like I'm kind of in a boat where like even if Marathon does really well, I kind of do want PlayStation to just go in there and clean house on leadership and get more PlayStation centric leadership in, or have people already working at Bungie promote some people inside that are like have been there for years and are better leaders. Like
Not Pete
because
Parsons.
yeah, because it's like at this point Bungie leadership is their biggest kryptonite, and it's just like they make really cool games. Their shooting is fantastic, but it's just like everything on corporate side of Bungie just is a shit show, and it's been that way for like 3 to 4 years. It feels like.
How you feel about this? I'm pretty adamant, and I think a lot of the guys last week agreed. I feel like this thing needs to be delayed. Try to get away from all the noise right now. Try to get away from like get more content in, because I saw it was like there's only 3 maps at launch, which extraction shooter. I don't know if that's a lot or a little, but at the end of the day, it's 3 maps. That doesn't sound like a lot, at least to a layman like me. But that's just not. I don't think right now what the content plan is enough for a launch. And I'm of the mind it's like delay it into 2026, give it a bit more time. I saw some people say like delay to 2027, 2028 to fully rework it, add a PvE, all that. I don't know if you could really get away with that, especially with Sony breathing down your neck, slowly wanting to get that acquisition going through. But at the very least, like get it to like a February or March of next year. I think this game would have a much bigger chance of doing something big.
I think, and it's maybe a hot take, I don't think it gets delayed, but if there were a delay, I could see like because right now it's what, September? That's when it's coming out? September 23rd or something? 21st? Like, it's in September. Maybe because GTA is now out of holiday, you can put this in a November or a early December, something in that time period where I feel like before they put it in September so early because they're like, okay, we're gonna have space from GTA. GTA won't bother us, and then GTA isn't there anymore. So it could be a situation. I don't think I don't think they would delay this game out of 2025. I think PlayStation wants this game this year. I think PlayStation is still, I would assume, confident in this game bringing in players, and I'm sure they want this right before the holiday push of new consoles and just sales and everything else. So I still expect it to hit this year. I could see like a 2 to 3 month delay if they really want to go to like late November or late October, something in that range. But I still expect it to hit this year. And maybe I honestly haven't like. I understand the art issue is a big deal, but I haven't looked into it as much as like how much art has been stolen.
Oh,
And maybe
dude,
it's a
it's like the whole aesthetic.
yeah. I
I've
just
looked
say
into it.
maybe
It's
it's like
ridiculous.
maybe it's a lot, and they truthfully have to go through and fix everything. If that's what's gonna happen, yeah, this game's not coming out for another year. Like it's gonna take a while. But again, I think when it comes down to the art, either they're going to have it paid to get used, which I think is the more likely
That's
scenario.
more likely, yeah.
That's why I think more likely scenario. Yeah, this artist sucks for them, but they're about to be a lot richer, and they can take some credit for a video game. You know what I mean? So it's like if they can get their name in there, they get a lot of money. Like I'm sure that's the route Bungie wants to go. Now, if this artist is like, nah, like I don't want this money, I don't care about this money, you guys fucked up, like take my art out, then yeah, that's gonna be a way bigger deal, and you're gonna probably have to wait a few more months and delays and go down that route. We won't know until we know, basically.
And just send the artist $1 million and then just call it a day. I mean,
Yeah,
at the end
I
of the day,
mean,
it's the entire aesthetic of the game. It's like, why wouldn't you pay them? Obviously, we're saying plagiarism is bad and you shouldn't do this garbage to begin with. But it's also like, at this rate, if I'm the artist, I'll take the payout. I wouldn't blame them if they said, yeah, I took the payout and they can use my art now.
yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, here's $1 million, like, and that's the route that Bungie and Sony, I would assume, would want to go with. Now, a whole story here is also from a Sony standpoint. Now that you see Bungie, and you're like, if this comes up and they're like, Bungie, we just had to send $1 million to this artist because you guys fucked up, like that, like we're
Herman Host looking at the bank account like, what the fuck? We sent $1 million to some random person in Ireland?
like,
What happened here?
I could see another situation where Herman's like, no, like, and again, Bungie has said as former employees, I'm just going to take their word for it that is true, but
I don't
like,
believe that though.
because current employees also follow this person on Twitter, but like, this
Yeah,
person's not
exactly.
a small Twitter account, so like, I understand, but like, again, it's a situation where PlayStation at any moment, and Bungie knows it, can pull the plug on leadership and be like, no, we're taking over. And truthfully, I am shocked they haven't yet.
Yeah,
I
really,
think
honestly.
I think because the final shape did so good, which was Destiny's last expansion, the final shape was so good that people loved it that like PlayStation gave them the benefit of the doubt. They're like, okay, you guys are doing well. Marathon's coming up. We're gonna have Marathon. There's 2 Destiny expansions that someone like me, I'm super excited about. They're doing Star Wars and Destiny this year. Like there's still excitement over there, and I feel like that's why PlayStation leadership has given Bungie leadership the benefit of the doubt, because Bungie is still bringing them in money. But I'm still shocked at this point. PlayStation hasn't just been like, no, like we're just cutting ties with you guys, and we're coming in
I'm
and we're taking over.
They already kind of like shaved off a part of that studio and created their own studio out of
Yeah,
it. So I do think PlayStation is almost like eyeing up that part. I think eventually PlayStation is going to take over no matter what. I don't know what Marathon needs to do. If it hits the top 5 of the NPD, which we're both like very adamantly like no chance, maybe then it does it, but I don't know. I I want this game to do well. I like a Bungie. I think they're a very talented studio. I'm not a fan of Destiny, and I don't know if this game will be for me personally. But I don't know anything about extraction shooters. But I want this game to do well. I want it to be a good time and everyone to play it and be like, "This is awesome." But it's just kind of a rough position, at least in the market right now, to try to release an extraction shooter that's fully paid for, and like you have to pay for it, and all these extra like caveats and kind of fan reception that just a lot of the opinion around Marathon feels kind of poisoned at the moment.
I think fans like us that like single player, big budget PlayStation fans, I think everyone should want Bungie to do well, because if Bungie and their spinoff Team LFG, that's what they call, right? Looking for a group.
Yeah, team,
Like
let's fucking go.
if those teams do well in the live service thing, I believe that like that can be the live service department for PlayStation. Like we don't have to spin off Blue Point and spin off freaking Ben Studio into live service stuff if Bungie is successful. If
That
Bungie and Team LFG is successful, because they can bring in the money for these other projects. Where then you're hoping, okay, we don't have to turn Santa Monica into a live service stuff because Bungie's holding down the fort.
I mean, that's almost like a kind of like small hot take, but like I have been a minor supporter of the live service in the sense that you need something. You need a like Fortnite or at least like something half the size of Fortnite to make just this continuous stream of money to help fund the big boys PlayStation exclusives like Spider-Man. The problem is that PlayStation decided to take teams that don't do live service and force
Mm-hmm.
them to spend a shit ton of resources on live service instead of going to an Arrowhead or a Bungie and saying you make a live service for us. Like when guess what? Like the Arrowhead one, Helldivers 2, that's like their biggest live service. That's their biggest PlayStation success, like in a long time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like they went about it in such a asinine way that I think we're starting to come over the hump and we're starting to like kind of survive the remains of the live service initiative. And I'm hoping like with stuff like Saros and Wolverine and what's it called? There's something later this year, Ghost and Death Stranding. There's a lot of good shit on the horizon for PlayStation fans, and I think we can hopefully end this chapter of this live service bullshit eventually.
And I completely agree. And I think, again, going back to Bungie, where they had a few years there, especially right after being acquired, where it was kind of shitty, like from a revenue standpoint, like they were losing money, they weren't bringing in Destiny players. I think that could have been a situation which led to Jim Ryan having to look at these other studios and be like, okay, we just acquired this giant live service studio and they're not doing it for us. Ben Studios, we need you. Blue Point, we need you. Like, we need you guys to now work on these things. If Bungie out from the gate was bringing in a bunch of money and they were doing everything right, I feel like PlayStation, well, who knows with Jim Ryan, but I feel like PlayStation could have stepped back and be like, okay, MLB The Show, live service. Like, they're doing live service, Bungie's doing live service, and then like Team Haven, like they're doing the live service stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
they're having their own problems there.
well, yeah, and they're having their own problem, but like this could be the live service stuff while everyone else can take money from that we're gonna get and pump out these big budget single player games.
Yep, 100%. We will see what happens with Marathon. A small thing I just wanted to bring up. Did you see that they were trying to make Destiny 2 into a subscription service, and the whole team was like, "That is a horrible idea."
Exactly. Like, the leadership is like, "Let's do this," and the entire team of devs is like, "No." Like, and I feel like that's happened 100 times in the studio where leadership wants one thing, and then I feel bad for every dev there because I feel like every dev there is passionate and they're good at what they do, and the leadership will just give them the dumbest idea that they can't say anything about. They're like, I guess. Like, okay, man,
that's a good idea.
You pay my bills, I guess I'll do this.
It's insane. Moving on to another story. We got a lot of PlayStation stuff this week, so I'm glad I got you here for me, Fusion. Especially an end to one of the greatest things PlayStation has ever created, PlayStation Stars. Coming to a close as SIE evaluates new ways to evolve future loyalty program efforts. Mario 64 brought that up, and then qualifying points redeemable until November 2026. Dang. let's not get sad all at once, you know. I will say this. PlayStation Stars as a loyalty, like getting deals and stuff, it's actually really good. I have like 10,000 points still to this day, and I was able to get a lot of discounts and kind of like redeem points for certain games and get like currencies and whatnot, like basically for free. It's really good for that. But outside of that, it's they gave you these digital collectibles that were
NFTs.
not quote unquote not NFTs. They were clearly supposed to be NFTs, and then PlayStation saw how like bad the NFT market was doing, and they're like, oh no, they're not NFTs, they're digital collectibles. Totally different. But yeah, I don't know. PlayStation Stars, a lot of people didn't even know this thing existed, but then I tell them, it's like, yo, go to the app, you're gonna have a shit ton of points, and then they check and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, I do. I feel like if this thing really wanted to do well, it's like, just put it on the actual console. I don't know. It's weird that it's only on the app.
Well, they did say that they're taking away stars, but they said they want to replace it with something that's improved, right? So I mean,
I hope so.
Who knows what that is? But there could be a situation where it's just stars but better, which would be awesome because I've used stars as well. Like, I think word of mouth needs to be better about PlayStation Stars, and like more people need to know what it is, like you said. But like any situation ever, like I wish Steam had something like this. I know, like I'm pretty sure Nintendo does. Don't they do like?
Well, they did. They got rid of that. Microsoft did.
Yeah, Microsoft did and still does, where it's just like any type of program where I'm spending money and getting some type of points back, where months down the line I can get something quote unquote for free, is awesome. Like, that should always be a thing. Like, so even people who don't care about PlayStation Stars going away, you should still care a little bit because it is a cool program at the end of the day. As someone who, I haven't bought a digital game on PlayStation in a while, I still, like I said years ago when they put PlayStation Stars in there, I've gotten things through PlayStation Stars because I used to get more digital games on that console. So like, there's definitely ways they can improve it, and hopefully that's just what happens here. They take away PlayStation Stars and they make like Stars 2.0, maybe name it something better because PlayStation Stars kind of sucks. But like, do something around there where
it sounds like a porn thing. Like, yeah. I don't know how to bring it up. It's just like weird.
But there's definitely ways they can improve it, and maybe that's just what they'll do at the end of the day, where they'll be like, okay, we took PlayStation Stars away, but this is the new kind of evolution of what we wanted to do, and it could be a lot better. Hopefully, I would love if they did it where it's like, even if you order physical on the PlayStation Direct site, you get some points.
Yeah,
like do it. Yeah, where it's just not a digital only thing. I think they could, like I said, make ways to improve this. Hopefully that's what happens, and it's not just like, no, we got rid of stars and nothing is replacing it.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I think it's just one of those things where when Nintendo got rid of gold points, that really sucked because they did do that physical thing. They did do that thing where it's like, hey, if you have your physical game, you can redeem it like on the Nintendo Switch, like kind of cross media bar, and then like boom, you get like I forget what the exact conversion was, but you would get like a good amount of money back for buying a $60 game. And like Nintendo games are $60, so that was worth it. Like you would get a lot of money basically for free. And I bought a lot of like DLC and like kind of like $5 little indie games on the Switch because of gold points. And like I basically didn't spend a single dime. That type of stuff is awesome. And it's like PlayStation Stars was also really, really useful for that. And I would just love a situation where it's like, hey, they come back with it, like you said, a better name, better UI, better way of like showing off like what exactly it does, and it'd get people excited. But also, it's a thing of like, if you look at the wider scale of the industry right now, new people aren't coming in. And I think a lot of companies are like, well, the loyal people are going to stay here, so why would we give them the deals? So let's instead nickel and dime the loyal people, which is, I don't know, maybe like a very pessimistic way of looking at things, but I guess I hope that's not the way I look at it. It's like PlayStation actually does do a way better loyalty program.
Yeah, let's hope they give anything in return. I don't think they can just take it away. Which I mean, obviously they can, but like, I'm hoping they don't just take it away and be like, that was it, nothing to replace it.
Yeah, that's exactly what Nintendo did. But hey, I mean, they got rid of it like I think the last couple of months. Maybe they do something new. Who knows? Something we do know about is Naughty Dog's next game. That's right, something outside of Intergalactic. Okami Games has this on Twitter. Neil Druckmann confirms Naughty Dog is working on another game outside of, or another game alongside Intergalactic. Quote, there's another game. I'm in more of a producer role, so I get to mentor and watch this other team and give feedback. Pretty interesting, kind of specifies that he is not the director of this other game. This is a completely different team within Naughty Dog. Probably a lot of like people who worked on Factions working on something new instead of that. Or maybe this was worked on alongside Factions and this is kind of like a technical third team. Who knows? But I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this, Fusion. You are the Naughty Dog guy. I want to know like what you think this could be.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit in the Discord this week when this was announced, where it's just like, I think we're both kind of leaning more towards like Uncharted.
Yeah.
Because this is the direct. This is us, 'cause now we're just spitballing. I think this might be Sean, which did Lost Legacy,
Yes.
where it's just like, that's my assumption, is because of leaks like a few months ago. I think it's named Daniel RPK or something. He's not the most reliable, but he always comes away with some Naughty Dog leaks somehow. But like, he said a few months ago that Naughty Dog he said they had 3 projects at the time. Who knows? But that one of the
sections.
No, I think Daniel RPK has been saying forever that Last of Us Part 3 is in development, but no one else like backs that up. So, like, maybe it's just a situation where we're most likely going to get that game at some point, so he can just keep saying it, and then it's going to happen. And you're like, told you guys.
What did I say?
Years. Yeah, but like his other project he was talking about was that Sean had his own team and was working on something else. He never said what it was. He just said it was another project going alongside Naughty Dog, where Neil Druckmann was on Intergalactic and Sean was working on this other thing. I don't think there's any world where it's Last of Us. I don't think Neil Druckmann would give Last of Us to anyone else. That is his baby. That is his project. If there's ever a next Last of Us game, it will be Neil Druckmann's. And I think my like super down in the future prediction is like Neil Druckmann's last game ever will be Last of Us Part 3. I know that just seems like fan service, but like in my opinion, I think Neil Druckmann will go out with like a Last of Us project of some sort. Anyways, that was just
he's
a
in
rant.
his 50s, so
Yeah, he's getting up
10
there.
years. Yeah, I mean, like it's not, and it doesn't seem like Kojima has said like, "Oh, I'm gonna work until I die." I don't think Neil said that. I think he's like,
Yeah,
"I'll work until I'm good."
exactly. And Neil said the opposite. And Neil a few months ago was like, "I don't know how many more projects I got in me." Like he's very much like he's coming down, especially when now he's making Intergalactic. That's an entire new IP. He has to think of things on the show. Like I feel like Neil has a lot of outside of just gaming things he works on. So like I could definitely see Neil being like 2 to 3 games away, which is like 15 years with how Naughty Dog makes games now, until he's done. But anyways, side tangent. From this game, yeah, I'm thinking it's either Uncharted or new IP, and I just don't see Naughty Dog creating 2 new IPs at once, especially when they made such a big deal about Intergalactic being the brand new IP, where it's just like
Yeah.
in that trailer, they showed Crash, they showed Last of Us, they show Uncharted, they showed Jack. Like they were like, "Hey, we created these things. Here's Intergalactic now." I doubt they would do that
First
again,
might be
especially this
in
soon.
years. Yeah.
Yes, especially this soon, where it's just like, I 100% see this being Uncharted related. Maybe an Uncharted reboot of sort. Maybe completely new characters. Maybe characters from the Uncharted universe already. But that's the idea that I'm going with.
Yeah, it's about time for a new Uncharted too. I mean, it feels like that franchise is a little too big to just kind of having the stowaway Sony vault. So, you might as well just have a small side team working on this kind of, I assume, smaller Lost Legacy size project.
And and that is in question too, because we know, I don't know if you had it, but Shinobi said that this wasn't a small project. Which is Lost Legacy considered a small project? I'm not sure. Like
I didn't notice
I
that.
and
Lost
the
Legacy, I mean, it's smaller than Uncharted 4,
that's
right?
what I mean.
Lost Legacy was supposed to be DLC.
Yes. So it's like, because I think I would have to find the exact thing, but it was on Reset Era where they even respond. They said, "Is this a smaller project like Lost Legacy?" I'm pretty sure is what the exact question was, and Shinobi said no. So this is, I think, if this is something Uncharted related, it will be like a Uncharted reboot of sorts, where it's just like the next, maybe the Uncharted's having another trilogy or something, and it's just like the next big Uncharted game. I don't think it's going to be a Lost Legacy size project.
Yeah, like a Cassie Drake game, which spoilers for you played Uncharted 4. Like, I'm sorry, you either don't give a shit about playing Uncharted 4, or like you already played it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm tired of this like, oh, spoilers for this game from 2016.
And
That
honestly,
I
it's like
played.
spoilers, but it's also not, because like Cassie Drake just saying the word means nothing. Someone who
Yeah,
hasn't played it, so
exactly. It always that's like the one thing that always annoys me. It's like when people get mad about that. It's like, why do you care? You know.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
that like it's definitely a thing where, and again, if all the rumors lead into each other, which it kind of sounds like they are,
yeah,
I think the writing's on the wall. We would know that Sean's been working on this game for like at least 4 years at this point. Like it's been in development for a while, where it's just like, I don't think this game comes out before Intergalactic. I think that would be kind of crazy. Maybe not. Maybe if
maybe. I
like
mean,
I
who
mean,
knows?
yeah, it definitely could be a thing where like Intergalactic is 2027 and this game is a next year thing. They would have to reveal it sometime soon, but like
Yeah,
it's been a while since this other game was also in development, quote unquote, from rumors and leaks that we've just had over the years. So like it seems like a smaller project would have already been announced by now. But again, video games take forever now, and even the smaller games sometimes take 5 years.
yeah, you're right. I hope it's Uncharted. I hope it's sometime imminent. I am ready for a new Uncharted game, but we will see. It seems like we're kind of like you said, like a good amount of time before we even see
Yeah.
it.
I love how we're just like we're both on the minds. We're like, it's just not Jack. Like they're not doing Jack. No,
Dude, no, like
nothing Jack
Naughty Dog,
related.
Naughty Dog doesn't do those type of games anymore. Which I wouldn't want them working on it, Jack. That's just not what they make anymore, and
Yeah,
that's fine.
and I think Sean, I'm pretty sure he was also the developer of the Avengers, like
Oh,
the
oh,
Square Enix. Yeah,
yeah,
the
wasn't
Crystal Dynamics.
he was the guy who went from Naughty Dog to Crystal Dynamics to work
Yeah,
on
and then
Avengers.
back to Naughty. Yeah, and then back to Naughty Dog.
It's like, oh man, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm coming back for good now.
Which people are gonna hate on Avengers, because yeah, that game. I mean, for today's live service standards, it actually did pretty well. But
So
um,
Avengers, honestly, I think we were too hard on it.
I never played Avengers like that. But I know like people like Kyle Bossman, like those people I know,
The
like not
campaign was
personally
good.
know, but like that the writing and the narrative of the Avengers was actually really good. And it's just like,
Yeah,
okay, if he's the lead director of whatever this project is, I expect the narrative to be good.
yeah, and Lost Legacy was pretty good. So I think use something of that quality. I'm super down for it. One place that I don't think these games will appear though, Fusion, is this rumored state of play slash showcase. At this point, it seems pretty clear it's going to be a state of play. Jeff Grubb over on Twitter kind of reiterated PlayStation event in June. That's the entirety of what I can confirm. No specific dates. Not sure if it's a state of play or a big boy showcase, but I lean towards state of play. That's it. Anything else that people add is to their own speculation. Now, it was actually interesting. I was listening back. We were kind of assuming Jeff Grubb meant state of play in May, but I actually listened back to like the initial things, and he just said summer. So that was kind of a funny thing. I think we were thinking of the last two state of plays, and the last showcase was in May, so we just assumed like, oh, it's gonna be in May. But they have done June state of plays before. Jeff Grubb pretty reliable. It was interesting. I also saw Nate the Hate kind of talking about how he has not heard of any state of plays or showcases, but that's also a case of like he doesn't know if they're not happening. He just knows that he hasn't heard anything. I lean towards there's probably going to be a state of play in June. Sony likes to do something for the summer months. I will say, man, I have been really. I kind of started huffing the showcase copium a bit, and it was like for a bit. Though everything now kind of coming out, it's like it seems like it's a state of play. But I don't know. A lot of people say it's like, oh, I don't think that. I mean, I say a lot of people, specifically like Bob was talking about, is like, oh, they wouldn't have enough for a showcase. I kind of look at the studio's makeup, and I kind of think you can do a showcase, especially with third party titles. It's like and indies and whatnot. You do have enough for a showcase, or you could just make a really fucking good state of play. So I'm very curious what they lean towards. Most likely that really good state of play type joint.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think a showcase could happen. I'm under the state of mind where if a showcase happens, I think it's more September. I think
Mm-hmm.
the only issue with the showcase thing with me is just like Grubb's not the only person I've said it. It's been other insiders as well, where it's just like it feels like every time we get a state of play rumor, it's always like it could be state of play or a showcase. They're like eternally talking about it. It's just how long are you gonna talk about it and not do the showcase? Like it's gotta be one of like that's something that I don't understand in these leaks anymore. Is just like I heard it could be a showcase or a state of play. It's just like who are you like? What's the dynamic here? Where it's
I
just like it feels like every other one, especially this time in the September one. Usually in February or like the one-offs in October, like those are always state of plays. But it's always the one around June and the one in September that is always either a showcase or a state of play, and it's always a state of play. So why does showcase even get brought up?
Yeah, I think it's just a case. I mean, honestly, I think it's just that a lot of executives talk about this stuff for a while, and they talk about like, well, do we want to just like repackage the state of play, add a few more announcements, and call it a showcase, or do we want to avoid tarnishing the showcase brand even further? Just call this a state of play and just make it a really good state of play. I think it's something that kind of like runs throughout their the meetings, and that's why they kind of last minute decide these summer showcase events and what they want it to be referred to as. I will say, I mean, the last few state of plays have been pretty good. I know you weren't the biggest fan of the February one, but like the fact is, like they reveal first party games at these state of plays now, and I think it's a case of like they do really want to position that state of play is the thing that you should still look forward to. The problem is like when you keep putting out like really lame state of plays every now and then, or like just like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 state of plays, it muddles the message and it makes people not excited for state of plays, even if no, this is a really good one.
Yeah, and even though I was lower in the last state of play in February, like you said, it was still better than a lot of state of plays. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
like a terror. I think we've said on this podcast going back since January of last year when they did the Death Stranding state of play, where it's like state of play and then the 7 minute Death Stranding 2 trailer. Like
yeah, I remember
ever
that.
since that state of play, I think state of plays have been genuinely pretty awesome. Like we're getting like I said, first party. Like we've had Astro, we've had Ghost, we've had Horizon stuff show up. Like we've had things show up in Until Dawn remake because why not?
Yeah, why not just throw it in?
We've had these first party things show up, which is why I've been leaning more towards. I think they're trying to get rid of Showcase till PS6 launch stuff until it's just like, okay, we're going to show the new console. I think it might be wise to just stop throwing the word showcase out there unless you're actually going to do a big showcase. Where I think if a big showcase is actually happening, someone like Grubb will actually confidently know. Because a showcase, as we know, is going to take a lot more time to build and put together than just a state of play. Where that's why I'm under the idea if whatever next year will be a state of play, because I think Grubb would know by now if it's a showcase. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think we would know that a lot of stuff goes into a showcase that Grubb would have more concrete evidence to be like, no, this is the showcase. Where I think September they'll have more teams will have more time. You'll have third parties that didn't get to reveal at Summer Game Fest Xbox that can now do it in September. I feel like September is just a better month for all the dominoes to fall. Where it's just like they could put a showcase next month, but I feel like you're going to be hindering yourself a little bit instead of just waiting a few months and making a better show.
Yeah, all fair. I guess I wanted to add this topic. Do you remember when the PlayStation Showcase, when we were watching the 2023 one, that disappointing one, and then it just shift over to Jim Ryan? It's like, oh, something big is about to show up, and he said, before we get to our last title, and then our thought was like, last title? That's all that was here? Man, I
Yeah.
rewatched that thing recently. Holy shit, we weren't mean enough. We were way too
No,
nice.
I've always been mean enough about it, because it's like we're mean enough to the point where we haven't got another showcase because how bad the reception was. Like we were,
Exactly.
I don't know. It's just that thing where we know Sony has to do something, because they always do something in summer, because you're not going to miss out on that E3 time. Like I know it's not E3 anymore, but like it's still the time where Summer Game
Summer
Fest
of
is
Game.
around. Yes, and you want announcements. You want your name somewhere in the news headlines. It's the biggest news headline of the year is that week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Sony wants to do something, and we're both, at least I am, fully believing that God of War game does exist.
Yeah.
That side project God of War game does exist, and I think it is too big for Summer Game Fest. Where I know people would disagree, and people are like, yeah, the PlayStation is giving Keighley other things, sure, but like I think they need a state of play to end with that God of War thing, and I think you have to do it within the next month so that God of War thing can be this fall or this September, somewhere around there. They can't wait till September to do a show, because then that means that God of War thing isn't coming. Like, that means that thing is either not real or it's next year.
Yeah. And I feel like if they had like one more big game like a God of War side project for this year, I think this is a really strong year for PlayStation.
Yeah. And it's like, where's the Horizon multiplayer? Like, where is
What feels next year?
I don't know. I just feel I feel like we keep saying next year with that game. Like it's
We've
just
been
like,
saying
oh,
next year since the dawn of time.
I mean, like that game. That's another thing where it's just like that. I feel like will be a slam dunk reveal for this year. Like that should be something of Horizon multiplayer should be a state of play thing. I mean, I guess you could throw it in a showcase because Horizon is a very big franchise at PlayStation at this moment. But it's just like that feels like if you put a state of play in this June and you had God of War and a Horizon multiplayer type thing as your two first party stuff, I think people would still be happy with that state of play. If the third party's good, and then you have Ghost showing up and gameplay, like there's still a lot they can do with a state of play that it won't reach the heights of a showcase that we all are still wanting so badly because Xbox gets it every year. But it's like, we'll still walk away, I think, pretty happy with a state of play if the things that we expect to be shown this year are there.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. It's like the last thing I want to mention. It's like there are 3 state of plays a year, and every time there's a muted excitement. There are 3 Nintendo Directs a year, and every time there's a shit ton of excitement. And the crazy thing is, there are really bad Nintendo Directs. There are bad, boring ones out there. But the difference is Nintendo only has one moniker for Nintendo Direct. They have stuff like the partner showcases, the minis, but that usually sets expectations beforehand. State of play, it's a state of play, a showcase, or a game specific state of play. So it's like, well, state of play is the most of what we're gonna get. People will still get excited for like the Nintendo Directs because at the end of the day, it's like, well, this could be one where you're gonna get the big new Mario, the big new Zelda, something of major consequence. It's not the case of like Nintendo feels beholden to a showcase for a reveal of that caliber. And that's just like, I want Sony to adopt almost like, I want the excitement around State of Play to adopt the Nintendo Direct excitement. And I remember when State of Play was first happening back in 2019, and my thought was it would reach the Nintendo Direct levels of hype. And the fact is, like, even though we've had extremely good State of Plays, I feel like we still don't see the same level of hype, even for like a developer underscore direct.
Yeah, I think it is because these showcase names ruined it. And I think I'm right there with you. I would drop if I was PlayStation, I would drop the showcases completely.
Yeah,
I love the name. I love the name State of Play. Like I think that is a fun name, like for some type of event. Like I like that name. We have now seen first party. I think that was the biggest thing. Up until last year, we never got first party reveals ever in a State of Play. It just didn't happen. Yeah. Like it was just not a thing that happened. So it's just like the fact that they started to implement those, more people could get excited, like a Nintendo Direct, like you said, because they can expect, oh, God of War might show up here. But even now, us as fans, we would never expect a God of War level announcement, like say the next God of War game, to ever be at a State of Play, because we're still under the assumption that showcases exist. If they could just come out and be like, no, showcases don't exist, we can go back to a narrative where it's just like we can be excited for every State of Play. Like everyone, we could have the next Horizon game. We could have the next Naughty Dog thing. And next, like they just announced a Ghost of Yote at a freaking state of play. That is a gigantic game. So it's like the fact that they did that should be enough for fans to be like, okay, anything's possible. But it's the fact that we still have to keep thinking about showcases in the back of our mind because those showcases were so damn good.
100%. We will see. June is coming up. Summer of Game, man. I'm so excited. It's my favorite season of the year for video games. Just getting a lot of reveals, man. We're very, very close. A couple weeks away. And also a fucking console is coming out that week, which is insanity.
We are exactly 2 weeks from Summer Game Fest.
Oh, yeah, because it's a Friday this year.
Yeah, we are exactly 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks. We're less than 2 weeks from the Switch and 2 weeks away from the beginning of game announcements. Like, it is coming up fast.
And almost an exact month away from Death Stranding 2. Like, things are happening, man. Things are happening, Fusion. Another thing that's happening for PlayStation is some Xbox titles. Just want to run through these real quick. What's it called? Nate the Hate brought up this rumor. Next up, Xbox games coming to Switch 2. Kind of just jokingly saying that, but also something that, yes, obviously Xbox games are coming to Switch 2. Sky is blue type rumor. And then someone replied to him, I thought Starfield with Shattered Space was coming to PS. Did the timeline changer get canceled? And then Nate replied, Starfield is coming to PS5 and intent should be announced this year. It's just a matter of when the announcement will happen. And then also we got this Jordan Midler VGC article. Xbox Hellblade 2 is officially coming to PS5 this summer with PS5 Pro enhancements. PS5 version of the game will also include new features that will come to PC and Xbox at the time of the pre-patch. However, those aren't detailed. I will say this. A lot more muted excitement for these because I think people just don't care anymore. They're just like, yeah, Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. And especially when it comes to these two, people are like, you could keep them. We don't need them over here.
Yeah, I mean, these games are still going to sell. Especially, I think actually, surprisingly, Hellblade did really well on the first PlayStation. Like, I mean, the first game did really well on PlayStation. So it's just like, I can see a world where PlayStation fans will eat Hellblade 2 up, but I know I see a lot of people still dogging on Starfield. Like I saw a comment on Twitter, it was like, great, now I can explore boring planets on my PlayStation 5. It's like, okay. Like,
yeah,
there's less excitement about these two than I think there was for the Forza and Gears and like other Xbox
because those are good games. Let's be real. I don't know. It just like, hey, sky's blue. More games are coming to PlayStation. We should not be surprised. I think the real interesting stuff about these is that these are games that haven't been revealed yet. I think the new games being revealed, it's like, yeah, just think it's going to be a PlayStation game from henceforth. But like, it's always interesting if like, say, Xbox decides, hey, we're bringing back Gears 2 and 3 and they're coming to PlayStation. Those are the type of headlines that are the ones I would put in here.
My thing is this does this make you believe it's like a year type thing? Like Hellblade 2 was what, a year old now? So yeah, it's like, is this like a thing where it's now like some of these projects are like once a year passes, we'll port?
Hang on, your voice cut out for a second. You said I got the gist of what you were saying. You're saying it's basically like a year out for these things?
Yeah. Like is this a thing where it's just like is South of Midnight? Are we going to be next March, South of Midnight be like, and this is a PlayStation game? Or is this a thing where like South of Midnight could come by December? Like, do you think it's just a still case by case thing with Xbox, which seems like everything is over there?
Well, here's my thing. I think like just everything from now on is going to be on PlayStation no matter what. Like rest of this year's games into next year and the year after, Perfect Dark is PlayStation. E-Day is PlayStation. I think it's more so interesting when we talk about these games like a South of Midnight that had the Xbox exclusivity or an Avowed. Those games are coming to PlayStation 1000%. The question is when. And I think it's more so the fact of the port takes a year. And that's why it's a year out. It's less that, they're specifically holding it to a year out. It's like more so the port is going to take about a year to make. So that's why we're kind of getting these like around a year later.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And it probably varies per dev studio. Like I would assume it would be harder to port over Starfield than to port over
so long.
a Hellblade. Yeah, so you know what I mean. So I can see that. It varies per project on those. And I'm with you where I would believe that every Xbox game from this point on is like going to come PlayStation day and date because that makes the most sense. Yeah. Now, if Xbox isn't doing that, then I'm just lost again with their entire approach, and it doesn't make any sense. But I mean, they just did the thing with Space Marine. Like that's not on PlayStation, but it does make
Oh,
sense.
did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the new version is only on Xbox?
Yeah, like the remaster, whatever the remake, whatever that Space Marine, the original, isn't on PlayStation.
Oh, it's the original Space Marine. Shit,
Yeah,
I
the
thought it was
original
supposed to be
Space Marine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn.
So it's
Apparently,
PC
I'm
and
not the
Xbox
noob
only.
anymore.
Yeah,
That's
no, it's
actually
not like a
weird.
big conversation, but I think someone pointed out on Twitter, I don't know who it was, but I think it might have been more of like Space Marine was a PS3 game, and you know how PlayStation 5 has issues with like
Yeah.
the PS3 ports and all that. It could be that type of thing where it's just like it was never going to come over here, and Xbox has backwards compatibility and everything else, where it was just easy for that. I doubt Xbox went out of their way to buy exclusivity for Space Marine. That just seems
That'd be an
completely
insane thing to
backwards.
go
Yeah,
for.
that'd be completely backwards for what their approach is right now.
The third-party ports of on PS3 are so funny. Like I recommend looking at some of the videos. Skyrim, dude, the Skyrim PlayStation 3 port is one of the most insane things ever. Because what would happen is every time you opened a door, it would load in that part of the world. But the thing is, every single like area and zone you would open for the PS3 version, it was a glitch that it stayed open. So eventually your game just stopped running because it was trying to load in every area in Skyrim, and the loading screens became like 10 minutes long and whatnot. And that's the version I played when I was a kid, and I was like, dude, this game's awesome.
It's
But
nice.
I would reach like 50 hours. I'm like, I can't play anymore. I gotta restart.
That's awful.
Moving into our next story. This is a bit quick, but I'm interested in like kind of what the long term is of it. Takashi Mochizuki over at Bloomberg kind of tweeted this out. Supply of components is plenty for Nintendo to ship more than 20 million Switch 2 units by March next year, but production bottleneck this time is assembly. Samsung is also pushing OLED panels for future Switch 2 refreshes. Story is free for a week. Shout out for that. What's it called? So specifically, he's kind of mentioning that there is going to be more than enough Switch 2s, reading the article, to effectively get everything out there. But it's more so like, will they be able to get it all set up, and also, you know, dealing with the tariffs and whatnot, and have them all assembled? I am curious about that. And Bench has been on my side with this. I am of the mind that there will be enough Switch 2s to get for the end of the holiday season. If you really want one, you'll be able to get one. I am just curious, like, what is kind of the long-term supply of the Switch 2, and how long, like, if there is stock issues, which, again, I don't really believe there'll be, like, severe stock issues. The OLED part is the really interesting thing. I am not surprised at all that there's going to be an OLED model for Switch 2. The question is when. I assume probably 2 years from now. Any thoughts on this, Fusion?
Yeah, from a stock perspective, like yeah, I think Switch 2 will be fine. I think you're gonna. It's not going to be a situation where like when the PS5 came out and the Xbox came out, where it's just like you weren't ever able to walk into a store and get one of these. Like I'm sure after a little bit, you'll be able to walk into a store and be like, I want a Switch 2. You're gonna get a Switch 2. OLED, yeah, I would love it, but it's one of those situations where it's just gonna piss me off if I buy that Switch 2 and then 2 years from now they're like, here's this OLED. It's just like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
I could have waited type situation, but if OLED does come, it's probably more of a 3 to 4 year scenario, but who knows? Like it still just blows my mind that this thing didn't have OLED to begin with.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I think it's one of those things where Nintendo just kind of understands a lot of people are most likely going to double dip, or they'll buy it for the first time with the OLED. Does this make you want to wait for the OLED, or you're still like, oh, I'll just wait for the next big exclusive, then I'll grab that one? Because you could probably also trade in your Switch 2 at GameStop
Yeah.
and like get a OLED pretty quick, easily.
It's a good question. It really depends when I bite the bullet and get the Switch 2. If it's a situation where I get through this year and I don't have the Switch 2 for some reason, and then we're early next year and there's rumors that like, hey, this time next year there might be an OLED, then I might wait. If it's a situation where it's just like we're going into next year, I don't have the Switch 2 yet, and the OLED rumors are completely dead, and it's just like this thing could be years off, I'm probably just gonna grab the Switch 2. It truthfully depends on when is that panel refresh actually gonna happen.
Yeah. Very interesting. I want to hear some more from Nintendo soon. I think Nintendo, they're going to have a big direct after the Switch 2 launches, probably the month of June, and I'm hoping we get some pretty big reveals there, because Bench seems convinced there's a 3D Mario secretly this year. I don't think so, but like I respect the dedication. I could see them like kind of reveal it and say, "Hey, 2026," but it's coming.
He like, he's the most insane person ever.
Yeah, no, he literally the rumors of like Nate saying like state of play or showcase. Oh, it's not happening. Showcase isn't happening. There were rumors that, and then his first reply was showcase incoming. It's like, okay, dude, we gotta put you in a psych ward or something.
I'm not going to rule out a Mario reveal for this year, but I don't
Yeah,
think it would be anytime soon. I think this would be like a direct in a late time of the year, or like I don't think Nintendo would give it to Keeley, but I mean they've given him
it's a
big
Keeley.
things. But like if there's a direct in like I don't know when directs are, but if it's October and November and they do a direct,
Usually
sure.
September.
Okay, so like a September thing, but I don't think there's any way Mario is this year. Like,
yeah, same here.
I don't think they need it. You know what I mean? I think
they got more than enough.
If they needed it, they would have already been. It would have been announced by now.
Yeah, 100%. Something that could be announced very soon, though, unlike Mario, is Bioshock. Report 2K preparing announcement for Bioshock franchise. This is Kurakasis over at MP First. According to information we've obtained, 2K is preparing an announcement related to the Bioshock franchise. While we don't know exactly when it will happen, some of the information suggests it will occur fairly soon, most likely before the end of summer. At this point, we don't know what the announcement will be about. It could be the reveal of initial details about one of the projects announced several years ago, such as Bioshock 4 or the upcoming Netflix movie. Holy shit, I forgot about that. Some of the information we've come across also seems to suggest another possibility, a remake or a proper remaster of the original Bioshock. I'm not really a Bioshock guy, but this is a very major franchise for 2K. It makes sense that they're starting to want to bring it back. We heard about Bioshock 4 a few years back from I think the team was Cloud Chamber that was working on it. Back in like 2019, they announced it. So there is Bioshock 4 fully officially announced. It's just it's a matter of when we get an actual trailer of like what exactly the tone and setting will be. And now there's these rumors about a remake. I don't really know why you would do I know why you would do a remake. You would do a remake to gauge interest and excitement for a Bioshock 4. That way, when it comes out, fans will jump in on it way more quickly. But also, it's like, I think most people just want to see Bioshock 4 right now. But Bioshock, I called you Bioshock. Fusion, you're a very big fan of this franchise. What's kind of your excitement? Or what's your anticipation of what this project is?
Yeah, let me run this down for you. If it's anything movie related, tall building remake, a tall building but less tall. I really want to see the next battle. I almost said Battlefield. I really want to see the next Bioshock.
Hey, me too,
man. Because that's it. Like I understand why a remake would happen because I mean the initial Bioshocks from 2007. Yeah, I got a remaster that still looks pretty good and like. I think those remasters were 2016, something like that. It was like somewhere in the teens.
2015, 16. Yeah, you remember right.
Like so, the game already has like a overhaul of a little bit. It wasn't a remake overhaul, and I think if you put out a Bioshock remake, I think that would sell a lot. I think there's a lot of new fans. There's a lot of new gamers that have heard the name Bioshock and how important Bioshock is that haven't played those remasters or haven't played the original, and they would immediately buy a remake. Mm-hmm. To me, if you're going to make a remake, I think you should put Bioshock 4 out first.
Yeah.
I think it would be a better situation of saying, hey, this is the start of the new trilogy or whatever they're going to do with Bioshock. Play this. Now that you're interested in what we're doing now, here's a Bioshock remake of this was the original trilogy. And maybe they play the Bioshock remake and then maybe they pick up Bioshock 2 and Infinite. They don't have to, but those are the thing where kind of the same thing with Witcher, where Witcher, we know Witcher 4 is coming before Witcher remake. So it's like, put out Witcher 4, have people interested in the Witcher universe, and then put out this remake so that people who played Witcher 4 can now play the original in a remade version. Like, I think that is a smarter idea than putting a remake out first and then asking these players to immediately jump to a new trilogy, quote unquote, or whatever Bioshock's doing next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it is going to be the new game. I think it's Bioshock 4. Jeff Keighley has a lot of connections, not only to Ken Levine, but also just Bioshock in general. Like, I was actually looking at the special features for Bioshock, that collection, and there are interviews between Ken Levine and Jeff Keighley in those. And one other guy, I forget, I think it was like the gameplay designer. But it was interesting. Jeff seems to be a very big Bioshock guy. I think this is something he would really fight to get over at an SGF. I do wonder exactly. I wonder when that would come out because it doesn't feel like it's this year. I could see it next year. If so, I mean, dude, Take Two. We always talk about how Take Two never publishes anything, but it's like they could have like the best 2 year stretch of any video game company, like for 2025 to 2026.
Yeah, I think it's hard because I'm with you. I don't think it would be this year. I mean, it would be insane
Could you
if it hit this
imagine?
year.
Holy shit!
They have like the time period there because they have Mafia in August and then Borderlands in September, so they don't have something after that.
Yeah, but
So
they
it's
were
like
gonna have GTA. That's the
yeah,
thing.
that's what I mean. They're gonna have GTA, so it's like there is that time period, but it is more likely that this is a next year thing. I ask you this: you're probably gonna. I assume what your answer will be, but like, is Bioshock too big for Summer Game Fest?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think. Well, I think my thing is SGF can be whatever it wants to be, depending on just what Jeff is able to get. I don't think Jeff looks at an announcement that like is given to him and says, "Oh, that's too big." I think it's a case of like what he's given, and I think that we saw how big the TGAs were last year. I think a lot of companies are like, "Well, our stuff is ready for like the summer." And like Xbox is full, or like, you know, Xbox doesn't work as well, and it's like SGF has more viewership. Probably is going to have a lot more viewership this year because of TGAs. I think you could like 2K could go over. It's like, hey, can you reveal this for us? Especially if it's a teaser. Like I could see like a small teaser, basically like Bioshock 4.
And saying that they're gonna do a teaser after like 6 years.
Yeah,
we've done it every 6 years, but
I don't know anymore, man. It's just getting ridiculous with these dev cycles. But it's also that is Bioshock, though, is that it takes fucking forever to release. I mean, listen, Bioshock Infinite came out in 2013. Ken Levine left that company and is working on this Judas game for 13 years. Like, and it's still hiring. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and it's something I could see it at Summer Game Fest. I could also. I think Xbox is a dark horse. Like, I don't think there's a world where Xbox can't have it. Like, Xbox is still like Xbox has a lot of very good third-party reveals. Normally more than Summer Game Fest. Like, Xbox does really good reveals, especially in recent years. It could definitely still be a thing where it's at Xbox. Those two shows are like the only ones it could be at. There's no way it's at PC Gamer or the PC Game Week show. Like, there's no way.
Hey, listen, don't rule out anything.
It's gonna be at Devolver.
Yeah, exactly. What was it, Devolver? That one Devolver tweet recently where they were just like, "We're gonna release something the same day as GTA 6."
Yeah, that's what they said. They said you can't run from us.
I love those dudes so much. They're awesome. But no, I guess I will argue 2K does like Keeley. 2K revealed Civ at SGF before.
And Mafia.
Yeah, true.
And they do a lot of things with Keeley and Gamescom, I feel like. 2K, like I'm with you where I think 2K and Jeff have a good relationship outside of GTA because no one's getting GTA.
Yeah, no one's getting GTA.
No one's getting GTA.
That's Rockstar.
The bigger question is, if it is, we know at this point, according to that article, it's probably Summer Game Fest. It's in the next few weeks. So we're going to get an announcement of some sort. If it is if it is Bioshock 4 at Summer Game Fest, how long is that marketing cycle of, like, when's the next time we would see it? I say they proper reveal, say it's more than a teaser, it's like a full trailer, a little bit of gameplay snippets in there, and they're like, it has a 2026 date. Is this a thing where we don't see it again till next year? Or is it a thing where we might see that TGA? Like, when would we see, if it was announced within the next 2 weeks, when's the next time we would see it after that, and when would the release be?
I think, here's the game plan. Here's how I lay it out. Stick with me. You get to SGF, Jeff Keighley's introducing the show, and he's like, I want to take you back to a world that's very dear to me. Bioshock 4, maybe not 4, maybe it's called Bioshock, just Bioshock, maybe. Bioshock, new logo, kind of like a tone setting. I don't know, maybe it's in like a polar setting or whatnot, or maybe it's back in Rapture. Bioshock, and maybe a little bit of gameplay. That ends, you don't see it again for an entire year. I think you don't see it again until early next year, if not maybe even until SGF next year, where Jeff shows up again and is like, hey, here's the next trailer. And that initial trailer, I should specify, will have the 2026 attached to it. You don't see it for an entire year. We come back, and Jeff has the next trailer, and it's like released by fall.
Okay.
But This game could be years away. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, which is again ridiculous to think about. But I'm with you where it's just like I think we see it. They go dark for a little bit, and then I think it is like a fall next year title, which again, insane year for Take Two if they have freaking. They have Mafia this year, Borderlands, and then next year it's GTA. Most likely the Max Payne remakes. Like those are rumored to be next year. So it's like those, and then a Bioshock. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of good.
And they had Civ this year. So like Civ, Borderlands, Mafia. Next year you get the GTA, Bioshock, Max Payne 1 and 2. And then also all on top of that, all the sports games. I mean, Strauss is having a good couple of years, I'll say that. That was like
that work.
Yeah, really. That was like a small minor headline that happened where it's like Strauss Zelnick says that he does not play video games and he has not touched GTA 6. And I'm just like, yeah, guys, of course, guys, he's the CEO. He's I'm
like controller like Jim Ryan.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've never been of the mind that's like, listen, I want the CEO to be good at business. I don't need him to be a gamer. Maybe that's unpopular, but I think it helps, but I don't know. Yeah. That's just my personal thing. Next up, this is kind of a confirmation of a rumor that happened recently, which a rumor that was taken down by the website that rumored it, and now it's like, oh, never mind. I guess they were right. Warrior 64 about this. Alex Garland set to direct live-action Elden Ring movie for A24. We talked about this extensively in the Discord fusion, but it's basically a thing of like, I don't know too much about Alex Garland, but Colin, our movie guy or producer, he seems to have a lot of confidence in what Alex Garland is able to bring to kind of non-linear storytelling, something he respects him a lot as a director and all that. I think it's a case that I am of the mind that I could trust Alex Garland. I was actually looking at his resume. He wrote Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, and DMC Devil May Cry. Those two Ninja Theory games back in the PS3 era, which is just a thing of like, why did he do that? But he did that back then, and it seems like he is someone who is familiar with the world of video games enough. I am curious to see what this is. I have a lot more trust in video game adaptations. Obviously, this is my baby. I love Elden Ring to pieces. I don't know how you do a movie, but that's for him to figure out. And I think the interesting thing about all this is I feel like Elden Ring is something that's so scale and size heavy and vistas and cool looking shit vibes kind of all around it. I don't know how you do that with an A24 budget, but also, maybe I'll be proven wrong. It's like, no, actually, they were the best studio for this. And maybe they go for a bit of a bigger budget because this will by far and away be their highest grossing movie, no doubt, if it comes out.
Yeah, I'm in the similar boat where it's just like I haven't watched like anything from this director either. I know his name.
Yes.
And he does a lot of war movie stuff, which like I feel like kind of fits the vibes of the real like I'm sure it's gonna be gruesome and like yeah, like it's gonna be gruesome and stuff and like you're gonna have blood. And again, I'm not even trying to hate. I feel like Elden Ring is gigantic, so I would not be shocked if it like was super successful. But it's just like to me, as someone who really liked Elden Ring, I don't know if I'm going to be someone who goes to a theater to watch an Elden Ring movie. And it's just like, I wonder how many people who are Elden Ring fans who really like the game are the same way of being like, hey, I really like that game, but like, do I care about a movie enough? Where I feel like Super Mario, which I get, it's a different thing, but it's video games, where something like that scaled more towards kids, where Elden Ring is going to have no kids showing up for this thing. Especially it's probably rated R. Like this isn't a kids video game thing. This is if you're going to watch this movie, you're like a 22-year-old who really liked Elden Ring. And it's like, is that going to hit in the way that A24 thinks it will hit? I'm not sure.
Here's my argument against that. I think just the name alone will get people to watch this movie, especially I think people really like those big budget fantasy movies. I mean, Lord of the Rings trilogy was massive, and obviously that was like 20 years ago, but like you still get a lot of like fantasy slop that a lot of people still shell out and go to the theaters for. And I think Elden Ring is that type of vibe where people will look at it and be excited to just see it just because of the name and it looks cool. But also, I think you're forgetting, Fusion, George R.R. Martin. He's producing the movie. And also, he was a big part of Elden Ring. And I think just that name alone is strong enough.
That's what I was going to bring up. I would say the silver lining for me is I think having Gurm related in any type of way can make this be a big deal. Because then I'm not going to say it's a perfect 1-to-1, but like people who are really into Game of Thrones or really into just him in general will be like, okay, his name's on this. This is a fantasy world thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. Like his name is
Especially
big
with
enough.
that book.
Yeah,
Still working on it.
his name is big enough, especially in a fantasy sense, where this is like you said, a fantasy movie, dark fantasy. Like his name is big enough where people will see that name and be like, okay, that has some sauce. Like I'm interested in that, and I think that can help a lot without having the opportunity to showcase it off to having hundreds of millions of kids showing up with their families. But now at least you have some big names surrounding it.
Exactly. I'm excited or I'm not excited. I'm optimistic, but I'm like, okay, I'll get excited when you show me the trailer because there's a lot of movies right now that basically are just like a name and a director and then nothing else. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna wait until this feels more concrete and set in stone. Moving into our next story, this is a very fast one. Stellar Blade sequel is officially part of Shift Up's future plans. Could come before 2027, according to Shift Up's IP expansion strategy. Genki posted that. Very exciting. Love Stellar Blade, and just kind of the official confirmation. It's like, yeah, we're making a sequel. We're making a Stellar Blade, like with a number 2 on it. Especially, you didn't play Stellar Blade Fusion. The ending was like, oh man, you better make a fucking sequel because like there's a definite tease of what they're going to do past that. But yeah, I'm very excited. When will you get to Stellar Blade? When do you imagine you'll get to it anytime soon?
I would like to some point this year. Now that we'll be on PC in a month. Like I'd be told, like I'm definitely down to get the Stellar Blade. Where it's like, for what I know, it's just it's still expensive. Like, that game not going to be on sale type thing, but it's just like I would like to get to it at some time this year, and I'm just more shocked that like if it does come out by 2027, you're talking about 3 years between games. That doesn't happen often anymore.
That's insane.
That's not a thing that like you get often. And my question to you is, Stellar Blade 2, is this a PlayStation exclusive?
I mean, the thing is, Stellar Blade was able to get the budget and scale of what it was able to do because of the PlayStation exclusivity, because of that money bag. The thing is, now they have the money from like Stellar Blade coming out, and I think this is the case of, at the very least, this will be PlayStation and PC. I don't know about an Xbox version. I don't think an Xbox version ever comes for the original Stellar Blade, and I don't know if they do that for Stellar Blade 2. But I think Shift Up will at least try to fight or at least argue like, hey, can we at least get a PC version day and date? Because then people will be a lot more excited to jump in.
I'm with you, and I think 2027, that's a long time away, 2 years. I think that
8 years intergalactic.
Yeah, I think that is a more likely scenario with this third party PlayStation stuff anyways. I think PlayStation has got more lenient with being like, hey, you're third party. As long as you don't release on Xbox, you can be on PC day and date.
Dude, it's so mean because it's like, what the fuck is Xbox players supposed to do? Like, they're not even a competitor anymore, and you're still like, no, you're not releasing shit over there.
Yeah, like I think it's very much a situation with PlayStation where they're going to be more fine with, hey, if you're a third party, as long as you're only on our console, you can be PC day and date. Like that's definitely something that I think we're going to see more often. So I think by the time Stellar Blade 2 does come out, that is the likely scenario of PC and PlayStation.
Especially if they publish it, they will get money off of that too. So just makes sense overall for them.
Yeah, at least Xbox fans are going to get Marathon.
Hey,
right, guys?
dude, reading the fucking article about Marathon on the PlayStation blog, that was the first time they've ever put Xbox on there, which is just insane.
That's why that project's doing bad, because it has Xbox somewhere related to it.
You know, I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you said it. Like, this is what I've been thinking the whole time, man.
We gotta stop any type of green, any X, like it's gotta stay away.
Speaking of Xbox slander, Clobrel brought this up on Twitter. Doom: The Dark Ages has reached 3 million players. Biggest launch in its history, 7 times faster to 3 million than Doom Eternal. This is awesome until you start reading more into it. Christopher Dring, I don't have the tweet up right now, but I remember what he said. He basically stated it's like 2 million of the players were on Xbox through Game Pass. Now, maybe that doesn't matter. That's okay for Xbox's metrics, but I was looking at the Steam player counts. It peaks around 30K compared to the 100K with Doom Eternal. And we kind of talked about all this on the podcast. I think it was 2 weeks ago when the game, or no, a week ago when the game came out. But it was kind of the mind of like, well, with Game Pass, the numbers are just going to ostensibly look substantially lower than they would have if it was just a full retail release. I do hope that it's not a case of like this game is doing a lot worse, but then I just see 7 times faster than 3 million. It is though 3 million players, not sales. Like, yeah, of course, I'd hope you'd get more players quicker than with it being day one on Game Pass versus being a $60 retail product. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know if maybe you can calm me down because I really like this game and I want it to do well and succeed and hopefully get it onto more cool stuff in the future.
Oh yeah, because I saw that same tweet as you, and I think the other number was like I think it said it sold 500,000 on PS5 or like 500,000 players on PS5, which is like that's a good number for a week, but I would have thought it would have been more personally, like especially it's Doom, like a household name, like I felt like it would have been more, but it's also a situation where this is exactly why the Xbox pivot happened. Like, because imagine if they didn't have that extra 500,000 sales from the PlayStation. You know what I mean? This would be I would never call it a failure, but it's a situation kind of where like
weird.
Yeah, where it would have been like I can't compare it to Hi-Fi Rush, but like Hi-Fi Rush was a sense where like Hi-Fi Rush had a decent amount of players. I remember Grubb saying, but Grubb was saying it did not sell well at all. Everyone was playing on the Game Pass. No one was buying that type of game. Where it's just like Doom. Would have been a same weird scenario where it's just like everyone on Xbox is playing it through Game Pass, which Xbox wants at some level, but also Xbox wants more players to enter Game Pass, and Game Pass isn't growing. So it's just like you might have 2 million Game Pass players playing Doom, but that's not a lot of new players. That's just players who already own Game Pass. You're not making money from this thing, where they needed those PlayStation sales, which is why this was day and date on PlayStation. So I'm sure I don't know what Xbox wants from PlayStation. Who knows in a month from now? I would assume a month from now the PlayStation sales would maybe be 1 million. I don't know. But I would like to think Xbox is happy with the way it's selling on PlayStation at some level. But this is exactly why Xbox had to make this pivot, because 2 million on Game Pass, it looks awesome in the headline. 3 million players for Doom already. But yeah, when you look into the actual sales of the game, where keep studios alive are the sales, not the players.
Exactly.
It's a bigger issue, I think.
Yeah, and I forget what game it was recently, but Sony recently said the word players, and I was like, please, no more players, just say sales. I hate the players metric, but hey, maybe it's just me overreacting. Again, I hope it's okay. I've always been kind of a doubter of the Game Pass model in terms of like keeping studios alive and getting enough sales for these big AAA games to continue working on more and more of this stuff. But I can't lie, as a consumer, it's like, hey, you just with your subscription, you get this big new Doom game ready for you to play whenever. That's pretty cool.
I love it. And even the thing of, well, you brought up Steam. Yeah, 30,000 concurrents. And I wonder what that number would be without Game Pass. But it's also a thing of like, I know me personally, when I'm playing this game on PC, I'm just going to play Game Pass on PC. And that's another situation where Game Pass on PC is only $12. It is very cheap compared to the actual Xbox console. So it's like, even the PC Game Pass players are getting in the ecosystem for a lot less money than Xbox probably wants to get them in the ecosystem for. So Game Pass still as a model confuses me a little bit. I love Game Pass. From a consumer standpoint, I am not hating on Game Pass one bit. I've played 80% of my 2025 games through Game Pass, and I would not trade it for the world. But for like the devs and keeping devs alive and keeping game sales alive, it is a unique strategy to me where it's just like, I wonder how much Xbox can handle it, and I think that's why they are putting games on Switch 2 soon and on PlayStation, because they had to pivot away from just the fully launching games only on Xbox and only on Game Pass, because that's not bringing in the subscription numbers they want. Game Pass has been stagnant for like 3 years.
Yeah, that's the thing though. These games for Xbox are selling well, and I think we're going to be seeing a case where it's like, I think Xbox's ideal is Game Pass has a lot of subscribers, and also we're selling a lot of copies for the PlayStation, the Switch 2, and the PC players that don't want to get a subscription. That's the ideal for them. Whether they reach that ideal, who knows? But it is fascinating that in even their ideal, the consoles are that's not a factor at all. It's like, it doesn't matter how well the Series X sells to them at all anymore, especially after those asinine fucking price increases.
Hey, PlayStation's still kicking.
Hey man, listen.
It shocks me. I cannot believe we're like we're like 3 weeks past that date where I'm like, you guys gonna do it anytime soon?
They said they were thinking about it, which is like, okay, you're going to do it. I kind of want you to just rip off the Band-Aid at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, if this is the Xbox plan and it continues to be successful, they will be the biggest third-party publisher in the world
And I support
3
that.
years from now, and it's just going to they're going to look really good. Like I'm less worried about Xbox today than I was like 2 years ago when they were
Yes.
completely one foot in and completely one foot out. At least like there's still a little bit of that, but I'm still more confident in the Xbox vision today than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah, make good games that sell very well. That's just do that.
As you said, like the Xbox games are like Xbox is topping the charts on every PlayStation sale. Like
Yeah.
all the Xbox games are like Forza. Every like Gears of War is gonna come out and that game's gonna sell well. Doom 500K on PlayStation I think is a good number. I would have thought it would have been higher, but how many days was that? Was that a week?
I think they said a week.
So like yeah, that's not like that is
Might have
not.
been the weekend actually.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It might have been only a few days. I still think they're gonna sell a couple million on PlayStation by the end of that game's life cycle, I would assume, and like Xbox has to be thrilled with that.
Yeah, very exciting, awesome. Hopefully Xbox is able to thrive with that kind of this pivot. That's it for the news, Fusion, or is it? The NPD came out, Fusion.
Oh,
Sorry, Circana. I call it NPD still. But yeah, exactly. It's just you today. Usually
yeah, great. This is fair.
This is a partner. I'll give you a bit more hits than usual, but let's see how you do. The top 20 best-selling games selling from April 6, 2025 to May 3rd, 2025. So pretty much for the month of April. In the US.
I feel like I need a list of games that came out.
There's a lot of stuff that came out in April.
Is Claire Obscure on there?
No, not at all.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, I was actually I was like very curious about it. My kind of hate against that game is now justified. I'm joking, everybody. I don't hate that game. But it was actually a thing of Kepler does not share their numbers with NPD, and that usually accounts for like digital sales. Oblivion is number 1.
Okay, I like that. Okay,
there's some interesting stuff about Oblivion stats wise that I want to get into
number
later.
1. That's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw out the normal ones that like are always on there.
Minecraft is number 4.
Okay, 2K. Either of them, I guess. Wrestling or basketball.
Wrestling and basketball. WWE and NBA are 8 and 9 respectively. There's another 2K sports game actually.
2K sports.
It's not football. It's not soccer. What's another sport that they have?
Yep,
golf. Yeah, PGA Tour 2K25.
I did not expect that. I didn't know golf was selling like that.
Yeah, who knows, man, dude? It's number 10. All the 2K games are in a row, which is actually kind of funny.
Well, Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed Shadows, number 5. The game that I forgot about when I was doing this game. I got
fucked up. Yeah. That's because you hate on it so much. Is Monster Hunter still on there?
Yeah, Monster Hunter is number 11. It's still selling insanely well.
GTA
is number 15. Do we need a 6 at this point? It's been like in the top 20 every month since like 2013.
Okay. I feel like I'm missing a few like newer ones.
You're missing some new stuff. Okay, so you're missing ports. I'll tell you that.
Oh, okay. Call of Duty's gonna be on there for sure. Right?
Call of Duty is number 7. Black Ops 6.
Damn, that's kind of low for Call of Duty.
Yeah, dude,
that's a little low. There's a fall over Call of Duty. Ports. Oh, like to PlayStation ports?
Yeah, it was just ports in general, but like PlayStation. Forza is number 2.
Wow, number 2.
Yeah. Now you wonder why they're doing multi-platform. It's working out.
It's that high. Well, Forza, Indiana Jones, I guess.
Indiana Jones is number 6.
Ooh, 2 and 6 is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and don't forget Oblivion is also Microsoft.
Oblivion was number 1.
And Call of Duty is technically Microsoft now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, Minecraft, is that on there? That's
Minecraft,
Microsoft?
Yeah.
Wow.
Half of the top 10 are Microsoft.
That is insane. What sports games am I missing?
You're missing an EA one.
No Madden, right? Or is
no Madden.
FIFA, or I think FC, whatever it is.
Yeah,
now.
EA Sports FC is
Alright.
number 14. And I think that's the last sports game. Oh, you're missing one more. It's like a. What's the last sport left?
Did I say Madden?
Yeah, you did. It's not on here. It's not football.
College
season.
football ain't on there?
No.
Oh, it's baseball season, the show.
Yeah. MLB The Show 25.
And that just came out. Or not like just came out, but like
March.
Yeah, I would say March, I think.
Yeah, the previous month it was number 2. So
I think this is my best showing, but I'm kind of lost now.
yeah, you're doing pretty good. I think you're ready to help. Dude, there's one on here I would be surprised if you got. I'll say this. Game that came out in March that was very big. You already said Assassin's Creed. What was the other very big March game?
What did I play? Split Fiction.
Yep, Split Fiction, number 12.
Wow, still on there.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I love
I would have never guessed that. I would have actually never guessed that. I did not think it was so good for them.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. You already got the full top 10. Big game in February that only one of everyone that Slice of Gaming has played.
Big game in February, only one of everyone.
Our producer.
Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah. Number 19. I want to get to that. It actually looks really good.
19. I still hanging on. That's pretty good. Honestly, that is pretty good.
Yeah. My favorite game of all time, or second favorite.
Your second favorite game of all time?
Come on, you know me, Fusion. Don't make me cry.
I thought I already said Oblivion. Isn't that like your second favorite game of all time? Oh, Elden Ring.
Yeah, Elden Ring. There you go. Yeah. Skyrim is my second, or it was my second favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it changed recently, so I don't blame you that much.
I didn't know Elden Ring was your second.
Yeah, Elden Ring's number 2 now.
Oh, recently. Like you recently updated it? Okay.
Yeah, like this year.
Okay.
After the DLC, I kind of realized it's like, yeah, this is number 2. Okay, you already said GTA 5. What's the other big game from Rockstar?
They don't do GTA Online separate, right?
No.
Red Dead, I guess, 2?
Yeah, Red Dead 2, yeah. You said, I guess. It's one of the best-selling games of all time. I guess if it did.
I didn't know it still sounded like that, though.
Yeah, it still sounds
crazy.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. You are not getting this. It's an MMO based off a game that was already said.
An MMO based off a game that was already said. And I already said Elder Scrolls? What is that called? Elder Scrolls? Why am I blinking? There's no way it's just called Elder Scrolls Online.
It's literally called the Elder Scrolls Online.
I forgot. Like my brain was actually blank. I'm just trying to think of some elaborate name.
No, it's just Elder Scrolls Online. I think you're thinking like all the expansions are called stuff like
maybe.
Morrowind, Somerset Islands, all that.
Why is that on there?
I don't know. I think was there an expansion? I don't think so.
You know what it is? It's the kind of funny documentary.
I was about to say the podcast, man. It got that big. Huh?
Bringing it together, Greg Miller over there.
You know what? It was probably the anniversary that got a lot of new sales. Okay, what was the best-selling game of 2023?
Best-selling game of 2023. Best-selling game of 2023. Why am I blanking? It's gotta be a big game.
License game.
Oh, license game. 2023. Hogwarts Legacy.
Yep, there you go. Hogwarts Legacy. That's number 20. So you're missing one game. You're missing one game. I truly don't know if you could get this on your own. You will be very happy that it's on the top 20. Like you would
very
be
happy.
Ecstatic.
Hades.
No, it's not Hades.
Okay.
You'd be truly shocked. It's like, how is this in the top 20? But I'm so happy. I love this game so much. It's like one of your all-timers.
Last of Us?
Last of Us.
Part 2?
Yep. Number 13.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's part of the show.
Oh yeah. I was looking at it. I was so confused why I was on here. It's like the fucking show, obviously. You're right.
That makes sense. And that's also this show, I think this exact same thing happened with Last of Us when the first season came out. This is why Sony does it. People will be like, why does Sony make the shows? List where Last of Us Part 2 can be in the top, where'd you say it was?
Number 13.
Yeah, 13, the top 13. It's above FIFA or whatever we were saying.
Red Dead, GTA 5, Elder Scrolls Online.
5 years later, it's in the top 13 of sales. That's why they do the show. Even though the show's ass. But that's how they do the show, baby.
I want to hear a bit of your thoughts on that later. But real quick, this is a very interesting stat Matt Piscatella brings up. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was the best-selling game of the month, instantly becoming the third best-selling game of 2025 year to date. It was the best-selling title
Wow.
across each of the PlayStation, Xbox, and PC platforms. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, this stat was insane. Sold more units in April 2025 than the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion achieved across its first 15 months in market combined following its March 2006 debut, and generated more full game dollar sales than the original's first 14 months combined. That is
That's insane.
insane. That
Even
shows how big Elder Scrolls is now.
yeah, I was hesitant when you guys talked about like it's gonna sell super well. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to do.
Who's laughing now?
Hey, I'm happy for it. I just like I felt like I guess I took too much stock into thinking people thought Bethesda fell off with Starfield. Like,
Yeah, no, trust me. People thought Starfield was the kind of fluke where it's like, oh, it's because it's a new IP, and they're like, just people like me are just excited. It's like they missed the Elder Scrolls world. They missed something Elder Scrolls that isn't Skyrim for the 20th time. It's like here's it, effectively for a lot of people, a brand new Elder Scrolls game.
what's the top 10 for the year? If you have that, I
Top
don't
10
know
of
if you
the
have that.
year. I don't know. I don't think he usually posts that. I could
Okay.
check.
I don't know.
Wait,
Wasn't sure because he said third, so I would assume it's Monster Hunter first. I don't know after that.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't post that for some reason. Assume yeah. Oh wait, nope, that's not it. Okay. Yeah, not sure. Most likely I'd assume like Monster Hunter, Call of Duty, and then probably Oblivion. But
Yeah,
yeah,
something
that's
like that. Maybe Assassin's Creed. I don't know. Because Assassin's Creed did sell it insanely well. So
yeah, Assassin's Creed. But yeah, it seems like you do better without bench here. Venture
well, that
bop
was.
here.
I
Yeah.
feel like that was one of our easier lists. To be
Yeah,
honest, like that's
yeah,
that. I just guess now that we've done it at least a decent amount of times, I immediately just start guessing sports games. I'm like, okay,
yep,
I'll get the sports games Call of Duty. Like you can get like 10 of the games if you just do repeats. And
yeah,
like I played, this was probably the first list where I played most of the games on there. Like
yeah.
I played Assassin's Creed, I played Split Fiction. Everyone's talking about Oblivion. Like I just started to guess games that I actually played. Where when you asked me about Dragon Ball Z or I wasn't even thinking in the like ever thinking of that game.
I want to talk real quick. Top five of the top 10 are Microsoft. Like, people are wondering why they went multi-platform. That's why, because
Yeah.
they want to have 5 of the top 10. They were not working out as this trying to play Sony's game. So like, fuck it, we're just gonna do a soft Sega and basically say, hey, we're gonna release games everywhere. You can play it anywhere you want. Really go for that consumer friendliness type motto, and they will overall make more game sales on everything, and also sell Game Pass subscriptions on top of that.
And they're making good games. These aren't just like
Yes,
we're just putting out games. No, they're making good games.
Redfall.
Oh yeah, like this is the thing where it's just like we laugh about the dominoes falling for so many years, and I still don't think they're fully there. They're basically there. I still think there's like a few months out from being like perfect, but it's like this is the thing where it's just like the Xbox. At the end of the day, I wish Xbox could have succeeded as being a console platform that
Same.
had exclusives and they could compete against PlayStation. I wish that in a perfect world, that's what I would ask for. But we don't get there, and this is the second best thing. Where like Xbox, instead of just dying, instead of going completely away and whiffing, Xbox pivoted and they did exactly what they needed to do. And they look at these charts, and I'm sure everyone at Microsoft, I'm sure Phil Spencer, they're sitting there and they're smiling, saying, "Hey, for the first time in what feels like a decade, we are making progress towards a future that we are actually proud of." And it's just like, as someone who I've owned every Xbox, I like Xbox. I give them a lot of shit because I want them to be as successful as PlayStation. I'm happy that Xbox is finally getting some stuff under them and being like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." Now they always seem to screw it up, but like
Yeah.
just reel it in. Like they're gonna have a great showcase in 2 weeks. They're putting out great games. Like this is the future of what Xbox can be.
I found the year-to-date list.
Oh, okay. So he does do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so top 10, I'll say that. PGA Tour, NBA 2K, Civ 7, WWE 2K, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 at 6th, which is pretty impressive. Black Ops 6 at 5th, MLB The Show at 4th, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion at 3rd. Number 2 is Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then number 1 at Monster Hunter Wilds.
Okay. You know, shout out the single players at the top there.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'll ask you this. How different is this top 5 going to be by the end of the year? which is Call of Duty, MLB, Oblivion, Shadows, Monster Hunter Wilds. Replace MLB with like any other sports game, basically.
Yeah, well, apparently Marathon is getting in there. So,
we gotta sneak it right past the Call of Duty game. That's all.
it's gonna change a decent amount. Mario Kart immediately in there.
Yes.
The next Call of Duty will be immediately in there.
Yes.
There's a good college football if it sells exactly like it did last year again.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like it has a really good. I could 100% see every game on that list outside of maybe Monster Hunter falling down. Like I could see those three being like 6, 7, 8, and then 5 games jumping, or like a 4, 5, 6 type scenario. Where it's just like I think Mario Kart immediately. I don't know about Donkey Kong. You would know better than me. I don't know if Donkey Kong has that type of sauce, but
it has a tiny bit of sauce, but I don't think enough to make top 5. It could. This time it's 3D, and it is like the first big game after the Switch 2 comes out after Mario Kart. So maybe it has a bit more sauce just being in that launch window.
And does like Borderlands sell like that still?
Because Borderlands sells like that.
Yeah,
Borderlands 3 sold like 20 million.
Oh yeah, so like there's definitely. It's sad to think because we're saying a lot of multiplayers where we would like the single players to be in there, but like it's definitely even like it might be a shot in the dark for top 5, but I think top 10 if it does come out. Battlefield, like Battlefield is still a seller. Like that's definitely a game that could be up there.
That's rumored for this year. No, you're right. Yeah, I think the top 5 is going to be really interesting to kind of pay attention to. At the end of the day, games are still selling. It's just how those games are selling, where they are selling is kind of where the conversation is like shifting to. And specifically, what new markets are you reaching? Especially with, what was that story about that Roblox game that has like 5 million concurrents, which is just like, God, that's the worst news I've heard all year.
Like that one Roblox game had like more concurrent than Fortnite. Like, huh? Like, what are we doing?
And it's fucking Roblox. That game is evil. Whatever.
I've never seen someone play it. I just don't understand
where are these people?
It's like the money laundering of video games.
Exactly.
I don't get it, dude.
Dude. Let's talk about something positive, like what we've been playing. Fusion, I don't think you've actually been playing much. You already talked about finishing Clair Obscur, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've just been playing backlog stuff right now. You told me you ran out of games, which I didn't know was possible.
I ran out of actively, like, I can play these games right now games. Like, I have a long backlog, but I'm in a situation right now where I have a different stipulations. Like, I kind of need a controller-only game because my setup.
Oh, gotcha.
A lot of the games I want to play are, like, super old school, like the Assassin's Creed, where, like, on PC, they don't support the controller. I want to play the new Doom, but I'm kind of doomed out, and also I want to play that game on keyboard and mouse. Like I prefer,
you need to play on keyboard and mouse.
You know what I mean? That's the thing where it's like I don't want to plot the controller for that. So there's definitely things where I'm just being a little picky at the moment, where it's just I could get into, but yeah, I'm kind of in a rut of what do I do next.
Hopefully you find something. Usually in those like kind of life situations where like you don't have the full setup, I just like fuck around with like just kind of my forever games, stuff like Slay the Spire, Tetris 99, just random shit like that. Just
That's
like,
I was thinking maybe going back doing some Hades 2 runs. I was thinking Destiny because I have plenty of stuff I can do in Destiny if I want to before the expansions come out. But that's also a game I keyboard and mouse on.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a lot of college football by this time of the year is done. Like we finished our college football runs, our franchises. Like we just finished up with that. We're taking a break before the next game, so it's like I don't even have that. I'm kind of just like a limbo.
Is the next big single player for you Death Stranding 2?
Yeah, and unless I'm gonna jump into Deltarune, which
I think you should. I mean, it's gonna be most of the chapters.
That's why
I still don't really know if it's most of the chapters. I assume it's most of them.
And there is still a world where I get to Doom like next as a big, you know what I mean, as my 2025 title. I still could get to Doom in the next 2 weeks. Like it's definitely. The more I'm sitting away from Doom, the more I'm kind of getting FOMO of the Doom. It's like I want to jump with the Doom.
I could talk about Doom. I finished it over the weekend. Got the platinum, full 100%.
Platinum's crazy. Was it hard?
No, it's a really easy platinum. It's just getting all the collectibles, and they put all the collectibles on the map. Which at first I was like, "Oh, you're making it easy." But the thing is, I was gonna look it up. I was gonna look it up anyway, so it's like, yeah, just put it on the map.
I'm with you right there. Like, I would rather on the map because if not, I'm looking it up on YouTube, and then you gotta like scroll to a YouTube video, and it's a nonsense.
They're gonna put my man Power Picks into PS5 trophies, and they're gonna put him out of a job. Yeah, that goes.
How many hours did that platinum run you?
I want to say 19. So
okay, so not bad, not bad.
Yeah, It's not the longest game in the world. I overall really enjoyed this game. I think this is my least favorite of the trilogy, but this is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. So I rated it a 9 out of 10. I was like, listen, if your weakest game is a 9, that you made one of the greatest trilogies in gaming. It is a completely different style of Doom, and I think I went over a lot of this last week, but specifically, it's like if Doom Eternal made you feel like a fighter jet, like you were on cocaine 24/7, this is the game that makes you feel like you're a walking tank. You are slowly approaching. You're using this shield, which is fucking amazing. I hope this is a mainstay from now on, where you just get to just dash to targets and throw your shield, get a bunch of like health and ammo in that way. But that kind of goes into one of my problems. I do think the game is really easy, and I'm not the person that's like, oh, I need a game to be difficult, but it starts to become kind of repetitive when by the end I am basically still using the same strategies I used from the beginning of the game, and I'm still, excuse me, I'm still fighting kind of the same enemies. It leads to me not nearly being as engaged with the game as I would once what I would prefer engagement wise. I will say though, I do think the bosses are a lot better this time around. I think they're a ton of fun, especially when you utilize the parries. I think the parry is a ton of fun, but also the parry is really easy to pull off. It has a very forgiving window where effectively I had one point where like I was just like I wasn't even trying to parry and I parried an enemy that was like completely off screen. And I was just like, well, I wasn't even trying to, but I guess I'll fight you now instead. It was a funny situation, but I don't know. Overall, I do really like this game. I think this is an amazing, fun video game. I think this is probably going to be in my top 10. Outside, I mean, this is going to be a very strong year for games, but this seems like kind of a mainstay for the top 10. I do wonder how high it will be, especially when we start getting the really strong releases later in the year. But again, I mean, this is Doom. This is pretty much what you're going to expect from Doom. You're killing demons, you're having fun doing so.
I got 3 quick questions for you.
Go for it.
Rating wise, unless I just misheard it, did you say a rating out of 10?
Yeah, 9.
Okay. Difficulty wise, actually no, before I even get difficulty, you said this will probably be on your top 10. Do you think this will be lower on your top 10 than you initially started when it was revealed? Like when Doom the Dark Ages, when you knew Doom the Dark Ages was coming out, do you think it's going to be? Do you think where it ends up on your top 10 will be higher or lower than you thought it would be going into it?
When it was revealed, I didn't realize how insane 2025 would be, but like I was pretty much of the notion it would be top 3 or 5.
Okay.
But now I'm like probably going to be on the lower end of that list.
All right. And difficulty wise, is it like as hard as Eternal, somewhere in the middle between 2016 and Eternals?
It is easier than Eternal, easier than 2016.
Oh, okay. So it's full on. You think it's an area where it's just like they call it a prequel story, they make it easier, they want more players to jump in there?
I think it's just they saw a lot of the feedback from Doom Eternal and they were like, well, I guess we got to make it easier, which I don't really understand personally because it was a majority.
I'm not opposed.
I mean, no, I agree. I think Eternal was a bit ridiculous, but this is like, I think, way too far the other end, where it's like, okay, now you're like kind of treating the players like they're dumb, especially mainly with the parry. That's the thing that's like, you really couldn't give me a more satisfying parry because the reason parries feel so satisfying in games to me, like a Sekiro specifically, it's this feeling of I am milliseconds away from this attack hitting me and me possibly dying. Whereas Doom, it's like I have 3 business days to react.
And there's no like you can't edit the parry window.
You can. I will give them that. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like I played on Ultra Violence, which was like kind of they put it at half parry window, and I could have adjusted it from there, but I'm like, no, I don't like the whole like, oh, you could adjust how many enemies spawn and all that. It's like that's good for people who want that settings. I'm of the mind is like, listen, you're the developer. I'm just gonna trust what you say, and I don't think they tailored an experience that personally would have fit even better for the parry window I would have preferred.
Okay, and let me ask you this real quick. I thought Eternals enemies got really bullet spongy. Is Dark Ages
so to kill.
Okay, I like hearing that.
They're very aggressive at times. Like, dude, the fucking arachnid bots, you remember those dudes, the brain spiders? They're so ridiculous in this game where they will home in on you and just fucking pelt you with thousands of bullets, but you're supposed to use the shield. But it was just like funny, like, oh god, I'm gonna die like every 5 seconds, these guys, unless I kill them first. But the thing about this game, ammo is way easier to get, so you can just super shotgun everything, and super shotgun is still insanely overpowered.
Okay, I like what I'm hearing because those are things where it's just like I'm someone I prefer like 2016. So like I prefer 2016. I like how 2016 was like a little bit slower. I like that enemies didn't feel like they took as much to kill, and I also like that in 2016. I felt like I had
cool.
way more ammo than Eternals. Like Eternals, it felt like I was out of ammo all the time.
Yeah, you're gonna never run out of ammo, especially when you get a certain melee weapon later on. It's like you never run out of ammo in this game. Which, to me, it's like I really like that resource economy, but I understand why people weren't into it. I'm with you. I prefer 2016 over Eternal, but I'm also like, I do wish they took a few more lessons from Eternal with this game. But again, here's the coolest thing about this game, though, Fusion. Completely different from Eternal, completely different from 2016. And that's kind of the cool thing about this trilogy as a whole. It's like you created 3 different first-person shooters, a genre which, let's be honest, has felt very stagnant, very much like how do you innovate? id Software is over here like, yeah, all 3 games in this trilogy play completely different from one another. And it's like, that is a feat in and of itself. And the other day, if I wanted more Eternal, I would have asked for more DLC. But I want a new game. I want to see what you could do with a new engine, new character, new style, new vibes. And that Gothic horror setting really adds to that as well.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because I like that at the end of the day, I feel like you're gonna be able to ask someone who played this trilogy what your favorite one is, and they could be all different answers. Like Dark Ages could be someone's favorite, or 2016, or Eternal, and that's when you know you made a good trilogy. When each game has something different enough where they're like, that's my favorite, or that's my least favorite, or this. It's not just like one game rules them all type thing.
It's kind of like Mass Effect, but even then with Mass Effect, it's like most people say 2.
Yeah, I was gonna compare it to Uncharted, because I feel like Uncharted has 4 and 2.
My favorite is 1.
Where it's just like I feel like 4 and 2, and then you have 3, but like I feel like Uncharted has more of like
it's more 2 versus 4.
Yeah, I would say for the main 4, it's like 4 versus 2. Who's the favorite in this area? But yeah, you get me excited. I know the story, everything I've heard. The story's
Dude,
like, just turn your brain off.
It's so fucking stupid. I actually got aggravated at one point that they were telling me the story. It's like, come on, guys, just accept that no one has ever cared about a Doom story. Just stop trying.
Yeah, and I have one more thing before we get out of here. Was that the open-ended levels ever feel like they were too much? Like, I know me and you both went into this, like, I don't really, like, we didn't want the open worldish levels to be in there. We like the more linear levels of 2016. Was that ever a thing where you're like, I'm a little bored of this area being too big, or did you ever get lost, or did it feel good?
Really. Not really. I was actually into them. They don't really even feel like open-ended levels. They just feel like a bunch of corridors kind of slapped together in a world, which is kind of what I want from Doom.
Okay.
So it really, at a point where it's like, yeah, the level, there's only like 2 or 3. And it's like, yeah, they're open-ended, but like, not really. They don't feel like ridiculously open-ended. Though I will say, one thing that actually does annoy me a lot, this is a very small nitpick, if anything. Whenever you kill all like the major enemies, the fodder enemies, like the soldiers, the like regular zombies and whatnot, they just disappear. And I'm like, why the fuck are they there? Like, let me kill them.
Yeah, that is a little odd.
It's weird. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed this game. I think you're gonna really dig it.
You honestly, I'll be really excited. I might try to make a way to start it this weekend.
Yeah, baby, join in. I mean, hey, listen, you need things to play. We got Doom is the Doom. Doom is the guy. Well, last thing, Fusion. I just need to ask you real quick. Last of Us Season 2. You've been a hater. I want you to explain to the audience why you've been a hater of this season so far. Or not so far, it's ending this weekend. So
yeah, this is I'm Sunday's the last episode, man.
Maybe they save it. Who knows?
No, they won't. I just watched it. Last weekend was the best episode. Okay. Yeah, I guess I haven't really talked much about that on here. I'm not gonna spoil anything, or try not to, but it's just, if you're a fan of the game as much as I am, or maybe not even just as much as I am, like, I'm to the point where Last of Us Part 2 is my favorite piece of art ever. Like, it is my favorite thing in the world, piece of fiction. Like, it is my number one. It's above every Game of Thrones, any TV show, any movie, any video game. That is my thing. I love the Last of Us universe, specifically the second game. And this is as far as this is the pinnacle of, hey, we're taking what you love in this game and we're going to adapt it completely different. I mean, it feels like every episode they get one thing correct, 9 things wrong. If we're counting to 10, it's like you got 10 things wrong and 1 thing correct. Where it's just like, even last episode, which was, I'm not going to spoil much, but it was a whole flashback episode that I thought was the best episode they've done, which, funny enough, was Neil Druckmann's only episode he directed. Well, it makes sense that you give the director, the guy who created the universe and created the story, time to direct an episode, and he makes it really good. But even then, he threw something in at the very end where I just was so mad. I'm like, why did you do this? Like, why? Where it feels like every episode I don't get enough of what I like and too much of what I don't like. And I'm watching with non-game players. I'm watching with people who are, this is the first time watching it, and they love season one, and I'm getting same reactions of, this isn't just me coming from a lot of it is me just coming from a purist of the video game. I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
But there's still a good margin of me where it's just like, no, this is just bad written television. Like, even the changes, I would complain less about the changes if I felt like they were good changes. But no, the changes aren't good writing. And I think for as good of an actress Bella Ramsey is, I think the writing is so bad in season 2 that Bella Ramsey is getting a lot of the hate for it. Like, a lot of people hate Bella Ramsey. I'm like, if anyone has seen anything about the show, it's Bella Ramsey hate. And it's just like, I feel bad for Bella Ramsey. I don't think she's perfect by any means as Ellie. She wouldn't have been my casting choice. I wanted a recast after season 1. But she still is not getting any help from the writing. I mean, no help whatsoever, where I feel so bad where I'm like, a lot of people were already out on you for being in season 2. And then the writing, they're making sure that we want to bury you. Like, we do not want anything to do with you. And yeah, I'm just at the point where I watch every weekend with a few people, and I just sit there and I feel like the Homelander gif of him in the movie theater. And I'm just like, and then they always bring me back a little bit where they give me some fan service that I love and eat up so much where I'm like, yes, this is awesome. But as a full-on product, I am very, very, very sad with Last of Us Season 2, where I loved Season 1. I didn't think Season 1 was as good as the game, but it is as close as you could get as an adaptation. Like, it's almost as perfect as you could get. In some ways, they actually benefited and they did things with certain characters that I thought were better, where I have not thought they've done a single thing better in the game, in the TV show this season, than the game. And that makes me so upset because this is the way most people are going to experience The Last of Us Part 2 story. They're never going to get to experience the game because, well, maybe because we saw the game is now up in the top 13 in sales. But I feel like for the most casual audience, like watching with my sister-in-law and those people, they're never going to touch the game. So this is the story they're getting fed. And it makes me so sad to know that, like, they're gonna be like, "That's your favorite thing in the world," and I have to be like, "No, it's completely different."
Dork, dude, yeah. Get out of our house.
Like, no, I promise it's not that way. Like, the game,
cool, please.
Like, I sit there every weekend. I'm not kidding. They probably hate me by now. The episode ends. I'm complaining the entire time. I try not to complain too much to non-game players because I know that's annoying. But then I pull up on YouTube and I show them the clip. I'm like, "This is what it looks like in the game." I'm like, "This is good." I'm like, "This is awesome."
It's like when you watch like a Maze Runner. It's like, in the book it was so much better. It's like, okay, sure.
Exactly. I feel like one of those people, and I know how annoying it can be because I made fun of Game of Thrones book readers for so long. I was like, "Dude, shut up. This is great." But like, I feel that way now, where I'm like, I'm the guy who's like, "No, the game does it so much better." Like, I am the person where it's just like, "No, they're doing it completely wrong." And one of the big issues, I think the main issue, again, writing. The second is the pacing. I mean, the pacing is so bad that it just doesn't make sense.
They haven't been going very far into it because they said they're like, "Oh, there might be a season 4 that's still adapting like Last of Us 2," which is like, I really thought you would need 2.
Well, spoilers from this point on. So if you're listening, spoilers for the game and the TV show, because the next episode, which is the last episode, again, spoilers. Ellie is going to have to kill Owen. She's not even. She's at the theater right now. She's going to have to go all the way to the aquarium in one episode, kill Owen and Mel, which we haven't seen since the first 12 seconds of the episode. Like, she's got to go all the way there. Manny still has to die. We haven't seen Tommy. This is all happening in the next 45 minutes. And somehow Abby has to get back.
Craziest 45 minutes of your life.
And Abby still has to get back to the theater, and then has to probably end with her saying, "I spared your life," and then it ends. Like, that's assumed where it's going to end. Like, Jesse still has to die. All this has to happen in one more episode. How are they going to do it? How are they going to make it feel right?
Guts, man. With guts and willpower, they're gonna make it work.
And another spoiler.
Did they say outright it's gonna end at the theater?
No, but that's what's probably gonna happen, because in the previews for the next episode, there's a shot of Ellie and Jesse running in the theater towards the door, and we all know who played the game. Jesse opens that door and he gets shot. Yeah. So, there's that exact shot.
I always got mad at that. I'm like, I like Jesse.
Jesse's great. Jesse, the character in the TV show, fantastic. He's the best casting. He's the best casting. And I'll say my one other, again, still on spoiler train.
Yeah, go for it.
The issue with the flashback stuff, they did so well. The museum was in there.
Mm-hmm.
The little spaceship, like they did awesome things. They completely skipped out on Ellie going to Seattle. Like when she goes, I mean not to Seattle, when she goes back to Salt Lake City, and like Joel has to track her down, and she's like, "Don't lie to me." Like they completely skipped that out because they added it into the pork scene at the very end of the game. You know where Ellie says like, "I don't know if I can forgive you, but I like to try." Like they put that scene into the flashback episode last week. That's how the show. That's how the episode ends. But that's also when Ellie confronts him, saying, "Hey, if you lie to me this time," I felt like that was just totally off. Like I feel like we should have had a moment where Joel did have to go up to Salt Lake City, have Ellie have an argument. But also, I just hate the fact that that's like the most pivotal moment of Ellie's revenge cycle, and they just threw it right here in this flashback episode. Like to me, that should have still been saved for when Ellie is going to kill Abby in 2 seasons from now.
That's fair. No,
I don't understand. You know what I mean? Does that like?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's been a while since I played the game, but I remember all these plot points.
Yeah, so because like in the game, that's when Ellie is drowning Abby, and then it flashes back real quick, and you have that 5-minute conversation where we never knew the characters had. You know what I mean? Like
it was a big moment.
It was a big moment. We're like, wow, we finally got. At least there was some type of forgiveness before Joel died the next day. Like we saw it finally. Where now, my theory, I don't know if it's even a theory, is just like Pedro Pascal's done. There's no way they could have brought him back for that episode, I'm sure, or like that moment. But they could have still filmed it and just put it in later.
Really.
I think
maybe they don't know if they get to that season and they were just wanting to get it out now.
Yeah,
that's weird.
I see the way they did it, and I watched I always watch the after thing where HBO does a good job of they spend 10 minutes and they talk to the directors and they talk about the choices. And Neil's talking to like Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, and he said it was the most nervous he's ever felt doing anything because he says he realizes how much this moment means to the fans. He was telling Pedro and he's telling Bella, if you guys get anything right this entire season, it has to be this scene. And it's like, I feel like you got the scene right, but I hated where you put it, Neil. Like you had it. You were so close, but like that's one issue. That's my big issue with the flashback thing. Where up to that point, I was pretty happy, and then they threw that on me, and I was like, gosh darn it. Like we were so close.
I don't know. It feels like a very weird situation when it comes to this game. It feels like this game can't really catch a break. Now that it's adapted to TV, it feels like, oh, this is such an easy like get. But then they decided to change stuff. Did you watch the Sacred Symbols interview with me?
A little bit, not all of it yet.
I would watch. There's some really interesting stuff there about like kind of the mentality of what they decided to change. I do think overall it wouldn't change your personal stance on what they changed, but I do think it was interesting. Also, real quick, I should note, Neil just said outright, as like, oh yeah, the Fireflies would have been able to get a cure. I was like, well, you got rid of the ambiguity. That was the good part of that ending, man.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. It's fascinating. A lot. I do recommend watching that whole interview. It added a lot of insight to the show for me. But I don't know. I was never going to watch the show. I'm just not really a big fan of direct adaptations like this. But I am really upset for the fans that seem to really wanted this thing to be a banger.
I mean, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Not actually, but like I've never been this mad with a piece of fiction ever, or just like
talking about jumping off a building about a Bioshock movie being this summer. Okay, you seem to be a very dramatic person in general.
No, but this was like. It's in it like Last of Us. I feel like I'm as close as Last of Us Part 2 as Neil is with Last of Us Part 2. Like this, like I think about the video game every single day, and that game came out 5 years ago. And so I genuinely think about the game every single day.
I mean, that's like how I feel about this Elden Ring adaptation with A24, where I'm like, listen, I'm putting my faith in you, Alex Garland, and A24. Like this has got to be right. That's why, like right now, I'm not letting my heart get attached to it. I'm like, I'm gonna wait until I actually see this thing. You know how it is. But yeah, I get that of something you care about so deeply, and you kind of feel like it's being tarnished.
I think it was all the false hope Season 1 gave me, because across the board, Season 1 amazing. Like that is a great adaptation, one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. Like
I think it's just a difficult story to adapt with Last of Us 2.
It definitely
like,
is.
It's a very complex narrative.
And they gave themselves no room when they're like, yeah, we're doing 7 episode seasons. Like the game is 25 hours long, dude. A lot's going on. You can't just put this thing in 7 episodes. And now they're gonna do 3 seasons of one video game. Like, whatever.
They got the part. Did they get rid of the part where the person was playing the Vita and Ellie kills her?
Yep, not even in it.
What?
They're not. Ellie doesn't go in the water. Like they skipped that part. You know how like in the game, like you sneak through the hospital and all that to get to Nora. In the show, it literally just skips to Ellie being in the hospital. You're like, huh?
Wait. Up. So that means they got rid of like when you're on the workbench and you get jump scared?
Yep, all of that.
Oh my god. That's the greatest jump scare in all of gaming, no joke. Like,
hey, but they'll have an entire plot line of Ellie saying she's gonna be a dad and her and Dina just doing things. It's like it makes sense, but okay.
I saw a scene of dialogue between Ellie and Dina with like Disney Channel laugh tracks, and I'm like, why is she making so many jokes?
Bro,
like
the tone is so off. Like you would think Ellie's going to Disney World, not on a revenge tour. Like it is insane.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Fusion. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, the games are good. The game will always be there, even if this adaptation is ass. It's like you'll always have that video game, and that's kind of the way I look at it with bad adaptations. Like I laugh off the Uncharted movie, but like also I'm like,
the Uncharted movie looks perfect compared to this.
Yeah, I kind of like that movie, honestly, if I'm being honest. I'm sorry about that, man. Hey, listen. Hopefully that episode, when they skip through all that stuff, it's like, well, at least hopefully it'll be fun. I don't know.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think like in HBO, the production's there, the shows look good. You know what I mean? Like it's still a big budget show, so like you're still getting some type of enjoyment. But yeah,
HBO stuff, yeah. Interesting stuff. Since we're talking about what we're watching, I've been watching The Sopranos. No, I'm kidding. I'm just getting into it. I think that's everything, though. We talked a lot. Fusion. It's funny, we said this was going to be a quick one because it's just the two of us, but a lot of very passionate topic.
Never quick when I'm in here, so.
Hey, listen, honestly, as long as the discussions are good, that's all I care about. As long as I'm not taking you away from anything important and we're having fun discussions. That's what Slice of Gaming is about. We want to talk about fun stuff, and we've been doing it for 2 years. Here's to 3 years. That's kind of my thought.
And we always kill the duo casts. I think this is like the third one now, and I feel like we always do really good.
Yeah, no. Other people couldn't make it, but we don't need them because we're the duo. If you guys want to find us, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, every single podcast platform. We're going to be on there. Like the podcast, review it. Any type of support helps. And follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at A Slice of Gaming. I think that's about it. So good night.
Good night. Don't watch Last of Us Part 2, Season 2. Just go play the game, please.
Play the game, man. Number 13th. And also play Oblivion.